Hello, everyone. Actually, I'm going to change this. I don't need it to jab it off. How's everyone doing? Can you guys hear me okay? Wait for the latency, make sure that you guys are all good and caught up. Oh, are you muted? Is your thing muted?
Yeah, okay, I heard you I think you have about a minute delay.
Oh, a minute? That's bad.
Maybe less.
All right, there we go. Ian can hear us. Thank you, Grace. Grace, why don't you have admin powers in my chat? You should if you want them. Don't feel obligated, but there's your mod status. I have my sister Jenny with me here today.
Hello!
So she's going to be helping me with chat. I am saying hello from Colorado. I'm not in California, which is why my setup looks different today. But we're going to be doing a creature design. So I'm going to be trying to focus on a lot of the drawing since I don't normally do like drawing and painting chats with you guys. I usually do like swatching or something like that. And she's going to help me keep up with chat so we can keep on track. And if you have any questions, like most people in our little community here, you can type question in all caps and then your question so she can make sure to read that. Yeah, Grace, I'm in Colorado visiting my sister. Yay. All right. Are we all good to go? We are going to be combining. Jenny has challenged me. She challenged me months ago, actually, and I hadn't gotten around to the video yet, to do a leopard gecko and a sloth. And even though she told me those two animals months ago, I haven't done any concept work for this at all. I've tried to devote no brain power to it whatsoever. Just before we went live in the chat, I did sketch out some leopard geckos and some sloths, so I'd have some references here. So when we start combining them, it's a little bit more clear. So Grace just showed you guys what the question format is. And that should be good to go. All right. Are you caught up? Is chat live for you too?
I think it's about there.
Okay. If you ever feel like you're lagging, you can always refresh your browser and it should come in a little bit sooner.
All right, sounds good.
So you guys can help me out with that, or with this creature design. I've done 2 of these for my patron live streams before, and they've helped me out quite a bit. We've had a lot of fun with these, where we're going to be combining these 2 animals, and I'm going to start with some sketches or some ideas that I might have, but you guys can let us know what you think would be cool, like, for instance, like a head of a leopard gecko, the arms of a sloth, things like that. We've done 3 in my past patron live stream, so I think it'll be a really cool challenge to do 2 and to have them look like a really nice blend of the 2 animals instead of just like I'm going to slap a head on a body of the other. We're going to really try and integrate them. So feel free to interact, ask questions. You can ask questions about any watercolor stuff. It doesn't have to be specifically about the creature design, but it can be. It can be about animals. I'll try and do my best. I'm nervous, guys. I'm nervous. We're doing sketches on stream. All right. So I figure the most notable thing about a sloth is that they hang. So I feel like it should be a hanging animal, but we can play around with that. I'm going to put in a branch here. I'm using a darker pencil for my sketchbook sketches because I want you to be able to see them. And if I do a really light pencil, you won't be able to. So this is a 2B if you're interested. Hey, Eve, you made it. No worries. Have fun exercising.
Does anyone ever have fun exercising?
Some people really like it. I hear that, yeah. Tori was talking about in one of her latest vlogs how she likes to exercise. All right. Just gonna start sketching and seeing what comes to mind.
We have a question for brand of pencil, please.
Brand of pencil. You might actually be able to help with that more than I can. I don't really care about my pencils that much. Jenny has lots of pencils.
Well, I don't actually have that many.
Oh, really?
No. So Denise is using a Reeves right now.
I am.
And I think I have Stadler pencils.
Okay.
But I don't have a great point of comparison.
Okay. I like to use Pilot NO color pencil mechanical eraser sometimes. I have one of those somewhere. Of course, right by my mic. Sorry if that was loud. These are the Pilot NOs. They do smudge, so they're not going to be waterproof or anything like that, but you can find a lot of my favorite supplies in the description below. There should be a link to my Amazon shop, and that will tell you kind of the different materials that I like to use. And the pencils, I think, are at the bottom of that list because I don't use them as often as my watercolors, of course.
And we have another question.
Okay.
Now I'm curious, is your family involved in art of some sort as well?
You want to answer that for yourself, Jenny?
Absolutely not.
Well, I mean, you have art supplies. You've been curious about art supplies. You just don't art on a regular basis, right?
Yeah, so my job is a QA engineer, which is pretty far from art. And I tried to get into art to help bond with Denise a little bit. And
Yay.
I thought it, like, bonded us on a sister level.
Yeah.
But I am very bad and get stressed out.
But you try, and yeah, we're trying to work on the stress. She gets really stressed out, and I want her to have fun with art instead of getting stressed out. Does anyone have any tips for her? Sorry, if I erase, the camera's going to shake. I'll try not to do it very often. But if anyone has any tips for reducing stress when you're doing art, I feel like you just put a lot of pressure on yourself. And art should be fun and not just about the outcome. So we're trying to work on that a little bit. My mom isn't very artsy, but both of my grandmothers were. We knew about one when I was growing up, but I actually didn't know about the other one until she passed away and we found a bunch of her oil paintings. So both grandparents are artsy. This is looking real creepy. I don't know what I'm doing, but how's everyone's day going? It's a Friday, right? I saw that Lindsay didn't have her stream today. I tried to get up sooner, but we were doing a whole new setup here. Took a little while to get up and running. Let's see.
We have one more question.
Mm-hmm.
I like to paint with watercolor, and I've been using some cheap ones all the time. And my family isn't really artistic, so I want to wish for a better palette for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any ideas?
Actually, if you... Yeah, we just did a really fun collaboration, I think 2 weeks ago today, between myself, Eve, who stopped by chat, Sade, and Caria, and we did a bunch of gift wish lists, and there's a bunch around YouTube. I have a video that I specifically was talking about mostly different watercolor sets here in the US. Sade's covered a lot of sets that are available in Europe. Eve talked about things that are available in Canada. So depending on where you live, I'd recommend checking out one of those. And my favorite recommendation, I think, I was going to say something, but then I'm like, no, that's a little too involved. I really like White Knights, but their sets can be a little hard to work with out of the box. So I had some ideas in the video about combining your own, but that might be a little hard for a non-artistic family to do. So maybe a set of Van Goghs. Those are a really nice student grade brand of paint, and there's lots of sets available for that. Da Vinci has some cool trios available that have different colors depending on which colors call to you, that kind of thing. Did I miss something?
Thanks.
Mission Gold also, it's not in the video that I did, but Mission Gold, I think I did it last year. They have a 36 color set with 5 milliliter tubes and a palette. It all comes together, so that'd be a really easy one to ask for. That's all inclusive. I see a Core recommendation. Core is good too, it's just a little pricier.
Juicy Ink is in the chat.
Juicy Ink is here. Hi, Tori. I was just mentioning you. How's it going? I think Ian said Mission Silver. Those ones are great, but they're hard to find, I think. Mission Silver class is their student grade paints from Mission Gold, but they're harder to find. I'm so glad you could stop by, Tori. We were just talking earlier. Eve was off exercising, and Jenny asked, does anyone like exercise? I'm like, I'm pretty sure Tori does. All right, so here's my really creepy first iteration. Again, I'm so sorry that the camera's shaking when I erase. I'm trying not to do that. We've got the sloth hanging with the gecko head and the gecko tail, gecko spots, furry body. What should our next trial be of combinations? Oh, Grace, thank you for linking that video. I appreciate it.
Much better mod.
Well, she's done it before. She's an official mod for a lot of awesome artists on YouTube, so she is well seasoned.
I always see her in your comments.
Yeah,
I think that she's just the nicest person.
Isn't she? Great. Grace is wonderful. Ian, Eve, Otto, Tori, everyone is great. We have a great little watercolor community. We were actually talking about that last night, about how supportive our little corner of YouTube is of each other, and I just love that so much.
Grace said, y'all, I'm blushing.
Aww. Can you guys hear Jenny okay too? We tested the mic out beforehand, and we think that she's audible. I know she's quieter than I am, but she's fairly close to the mic.
I'm also just like not speaking at the microphone consistently because I'm not used to this. Sorry.
All right, Jenny, do you have any ideas for combinations on our critter?
I don't think so. What are you thinking?
Well, this was my thought.
Okay.
But he's a super creepy thought, but I kind of like it. I like that he looks a little bit more like, oh, he's missing a leg. Whoops. He looks a little bit more like prehistoric, I guess.
Ooh, I'm real clear in the audio department.
Oh, good. Oh, Jess is here. Hi, Jess. Cooperation, not competition. Yeah, Mikey. We were talking about that specifically, about how our little corner seems to be really great, that it's not a competition, that everyone's really supportive of each other, and I really love that. Any ideas from chat? You guys pretty quiet? You just hanging out? Oh, Grace has one. There we go.
So I say sloth, head and toes, geckos, tail and body.
Head and toes. All right, let's see what we can do there.
And somebody else says you could do his fur similar to a Chinese crested.
A crested gecko? Just clarifying.
I don't know animals.
No, I'm not talking to you. I'm just clarifying the question. We're doing sloth and lizard. We're not adding more animals. We're just recombining the sloth and the gecko. So Grace said sloth head. Oh, we're shaking the table a little bit.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Somebody asked, did you ever have to choose between your art and your need tos? If so, how do you deal with it?
Oh, absolutely, on a daily basis. If you're newer to the channel, I have a big long Q&A that I did during the summer. I remember it was summer because I was hot and sweating for the entire video. And I have fibromyalgia, and so it's a chronic pain situation. So I'm constantly dealing with the balance of taking care of my body and doing art. I actually had to leave my main job 3.5 years ago to take care of my health and make sure that I'm taking care of me first. And so my recording days have to be limited a lot of times because of the fact that wow, I totally lost my train of thought. My recording sessions have to be shorter because of the fact that I did not think this design through, and I'm getting confused. I'm gonna take this off the table and erase because I don't want to shake the table. But we're gonna start over with this one because I can't art for that long. My shoulders start to hurt, my body starts to hurt, and I can't keep up with it. So I take little breaks a lot. I have to make sure that my desk is as ergonomic as possible. I have to have certain palettes that can keep paint close to me, so I'm not reaching across the table to reach for supplies because that wears me out really quickly. So just setting up your desk the best that you can. If you're talking more of a balance between work and art, not chronic pain, I'm a little less versed in that because that just hasn't been my experience, but there might be people in chat who can help you with that. But I would imagine it just comes down to a balance either direction and trying to make sure that you're taking care of all your need tos and then also making time for your art. A lot of times we say that we don't have time, and then like I'll find myself on my phone on social media for an hour doing absolutely nothing. So if you're really dedicated for your art, you can try and like have a reminder for yourself that if you're on social media not doing anything, you could be doing 15 minutes of art instead, and that's something better than nothing. So maybe that's a recommendation.
Grace is again awesome and linked your Q&A video where I think
thank you Grace, on top of it.
Tessa had the suggestion for you should do the sloth's fluffy arms and elbows.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna do that on this one with Grace's. Grace said head of sloth and toes, right? And then the body of the gecko in the tail. So I'm gonna do the sloth head here.
Okay.
And then I was gonna put the arms on it and do those slothy also.
And then in reference to the dog, Sneak said...
Oh, the Chinese crested dog.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's a dog with hair on its head and ankles, tail, and bald everywhere else. Yeah. So it's more about the placement of the hair, not adding another hair.
Okay, cool idea. Yeah, now that you say that, that totally makes sense.
Katrina says, hello everyone, I'm new.
Oh, hi, hello. Katrina. Sloths have really weird bodies, guys. I was looking at this one picture. Let me pull it up for you guys because it looks so crazy that you think this couldn't possibly be an animal, but it is. But I'm pretty sure it's also an alien.
And Grace said, Denise, this is great. I hate it.
Here's the sloth that has like this tiny little head and these ginormous front arms. So they're pretty crazy looking.
Cajun Sunshine Craft says, I'm also new. Hello, everyone.
Hi, guys. I'm so glad some of you guys could join us. Let me check our dashboard. We've got 63 people in the chat today. Saw Grace's comment about animals are already ridiculous. Combining them is even more ridiculous.
Yes. I feel like that's kind of the point.
Yeah, if you guys, the first one that I did for Patreon is up over on my Instagram @ In Liquid Color. And we did a frochilla buck, which was a frog, chinchilla, and water buck. And I actually love how it turned out. And it was pretty darn ridiculous, but it was so much fun to come up with. I realized once I got here, I should have brought that sketchbook so I could show you guys the other sketches I have for these creature designs.
And that is one that I transferred over with a light box and tried to paint myself, and it did not turn out very well. And I got a butt line in the wrong place.
Oh, that happens. Oh man, that happens. Water bucks are hard. They got that little target on their hiney. If you guys aren't familiar with my Patreon, I do streams 3 times a month over there. Or I do tutorials 3 times a month over there, plus a live stream, and all those videos are available for replays for the $5 and up tiers. And so what Jenny was referring to is I had the frochilla buck and then encouraged other people to paint along with me or come up with their own ideas or try their own color combinations and that kind of thing. So we had a lot of fun with that. So this one is pretty similar to the top one, but it has like a little bit of a softer face, I guess, because it's not the reptilian head, I guess. But we've got the smooth back because it's the reptile's back instead of the sloth.
Grace is amazing and just linked your frochilla book.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
So just all the links.
Yay. She's got us covered.
Jessica says, I like the sloth head.
Yes, yes. I'm partial to the leopard gecko head, but I have a thing for reptiles, so I'm definitely biased. But I love this little sloth head right here, and so I think if we put that over there, that would be really fun. And you know, I was thinking, all the other ones I've done before, I've done in like a really casual sketchbook. Jenny read something funny. I've done in a really casual sketchbook and then had to transfer over to watercolor paper. But because we're on mixed media paper that Jenny so kindly let me borrow, we could even just sketch in here. We could do some watercolor studies in the book and not have to move it. Am I still on screen? Hopefully.
We're a little laggy on both screens.
Okay.
So I want to say yes.
Let's check OBS. There we go. I'm going to take a second just to catch up. I like to see what everyone's saying. What were you laughing at, Jenny?
Oh, I was laughing at Ian's comment of, I wonder if this is how they come up with the concept animals for the films like Star Wars. I just watched, there was a YouTube video. Someone help me out if you remember which one this was. There was someone who was talking, it was Jeanette Andromeda for our AAC video. She was talking about porgs and how the reason why the porgs were in the new Star Wars movies was because the island that they were filming on was full of puffins. And they had to replace them with CGI because they were everywhere. And so the reason that the porgs were in that movie was for that reason. So that was really cool. I knew I'd figure it out eventually. I just have to talk long enough and distract myself and I'll eventually come up with an answer. Grace, with each new concept, my hate and love for these grow. Oh. You can approve that. That's fine. Huh? You can approve that. That's fine. Okay. I do kind of like the smoothness of this one with the Leopard Gecko back. Feels a little bit more isolated, like it's not quite as hodgepodgey as the first one. But we could also color both and see which one we like. Okay. We have a question.
Okay.
Have you ever done watercolor of an alligator? We bass fish a lot, and I've seen several amazing photos.
Well, have I? I don't think I've done, well, I did a full painting for my patrons, but I honestly didn't love that one very much. But this was a tiny little sketch in one of my sketchbooks that I absolutely adored of a baby alligator, and I loved him so much I turned him into print for a bag. So yeah, I love doing crocodilians. Unfortunately, I don't have my full sketchbook because I don't travel with full sketchbooks, but I did a sketchbook tour video a little while back and had a page of different crocodilians and stuff like that. I think they're really fun and their textures are really cool to paint. All right, should we do one more? Should we paint these guys? What are we thinking? Should we add some fur here, or is it gonna look silly? Very gently trying to erase this dark line here.
Trying to see if anybody has opinions in chat. I don't see a bunch of them. Just means you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. That's good. Good little furry there.
I'm bad at reading, so I don't know this name, but
okay.
That alligator has so much personality, someone with a great name says.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I think he's really funny. He looks really mischievous. Like he's got a little sly grin, like he's up to something mischievous. So I know that wasn't the most popular design in my shop, but I had to steal a bag for myself because I thought he was awesome.
Grace has a great idea if you're up for it.
Okay.
These are really sloth poses. What if we put it in like a gecko pose?
That's a challenge. Let's try it out. What are we gonna do with them legs?
Madness.
See. I'm gonna scooch the mic over.
Mushroom Brains ask, what is the most fun animal to draw?
There's so many. I love horses, but I've always loved horses and just have an affinity for them. But honestly, I think I've painted more rhinos than everything else. I feel like I painted rhinos with Jenny the last time I saw her. I feel like they're just really fun. Their skin textures are fun. I love wrinkles. I love anything with wrinkles. Wrinkles are really cool to paint. My least favorite, I know you didn't ask that, but my least favorite is anything with really long hair because it's really hard to render in watercolor. And I'm just impatient. So, all right, let's see.
Are you up for another question?
Yeah.
Foxfire Hands asks, when did you find your voice and your own style?
I feel like, I know this is a really cheesy answer, but I feel like it's always kind of developing. I feel like in the last year, though, I've really grown a lot. And so that was well into this adventure, of course. I don't know if I'm gonna have enough room here. I'm just like trying to think through this. So I've been talking about this with my patrons because they have been incredible and they keep pushing me with tutorials that I wouldn't normally do or that I've been afraid to do. I recently did an orangutan for them that I was like legit terrified to paint because I thought I was gonna mess it up. And just being pushed to those boundaries has really, really helped me, and to get inspiration from my fellow artist friends. Tori, who was here earlier, I don't know if she's still here, Juicy Ink, and Arlisha have really inspired me with how loose they paint. I'm a very controlled painter, and I know that that holds me back in a lot of ways, so I've been trying to loosen up and to be more comfortable with everything. So by kind of getting inspiration from them and to learning how to loosen up my brush strokes, and even just holding my pencil back further when I sketch so that I'm not like down here and super tight and controlled. I feel like I'm more creative that way. I don't know if I'm answering this question, but it's practice and creativity and letting your own style come through and not doing what you think other people want you to do or what you should be doing, and just really listening to yourself about what feels right and what doesn't feel right. I love cartooning styles and like really, really cute animals, but every time I try and do it, it just feels forced. That's not how I paint. And so I think it's really important to listen to yourself and make sure that you're doing something you enjoy, and then your style will come naturally.
I mean, I also think from an outside perspective of just, I watch all your videos because I'm a good sister, but
the best.
Like watching your videos progress over the last couple of years, like your style has changed a lot, whether or not you realize
Oh no,
it
definitely has. I'm with you.
I'm sure you even haven't found your style yet.
Yeah, it's always growing, always developing. I'm sorry, this sketch is looking really messy, but we're going somewhere. It's all right. We'll figure it out.
Christina asked, any advice on drawing wrinkles?
Not drawing, but painting. I really love to... One second. I'll get out some visual demonstrations here. Oh, you know what? I put some on the aardvark last night that we were sketching. Let me pull that up. Maybe they're subtle. Never mind, you're not going to be able to see this. Let me see if I have any other ones. If not, I'll just paint some. I like to put down, like the style that I do with all of my other artwork, I like to put down wet paint on dry paper and then soften off one of the two edges for wrinkles so that you get a nice textural change. Yeah, no, I don't have any in the sketchbook. So, let's put this here. Get some water. And let me pick a dark color so you guys can see it. So wet paint on dry paper and doing like fine lines. And then I wipe off my brush and like to soften off one of those edges so that you get kind of these lost and found, hard and soft. And that's how I like to do wrinkles. And I just think they're really fun and enjoyable. That's just the texture I like to do.
Faith asks, how did you learn to draw animals from imagination? I'm trying to learn how their muscles work to be able to understand the drawing better.
It's a lot of practice, a lot of study of anatomy, and go check out Mary Stanch's channel. She's doing a series right now on how to draw birds. That's incredible. She has 2 videos so far, and I know she's going to go more in depth, but she is a scientific illustrator. She's part of the AAC, so that's how we kind of like know each other and everything. She's a really, really wonderful scientific illustrator. And she shows you the different groupings of feathers. She talks specifically about how if you know the groupings of feathers better on birds, you can apply that to creature design so that when you're making up a new creature, you have like these ideas of the foundation of where these different feather groups sit and things like that. She talked about the bones in one. She's going to talk about feathers in another. I think she's talking about muscles. And if I'm not mistaken, I think she also said she's going to do that with other groups aside from just birds as well, but she wanted to start there. So just learning the anatomy of animals so that when you go to put them together, you do things that make sense. Like I have to make sure that this neck here, the reason I erased it the first time I did it is I did this big sideways sloth head looking at this sketch here because the sloth can turn its head, but the lizard cannot turn its head like that. So if I was having a lizard body, it wouldn't work for it to turn its head all the way to the front of the camera because its neck doesn't turn that far. So I was like, oh, we need to do this from the side view, and that'll make it look a little bit more convincing.
Jessica had the same answer.
Nice, yeah.
So great minds think alike.
Yay! Yeah, Mary is my art goals. Like, I know I'm not gonna, like, my style, going back to that style question, my style is not the same style as hers, but she just paints the most beautiful stuff. If you like dinosaurs, she has dinosaurs on her channel. She's just a very cool artist.
Discreetly Obvious says, I finally caught a stream and it's two of my favorite animals.
Yay! Welcome. So yeah, the reason I decided to go ahead and do this sketch page first is because I know from experience with my patrons, it takes me an hour just to draw like all the animals first, and then if you wanted me to do any painting at all, since this is a watercolor channel after all, I wanted to have some time left over for that. Again, going back to the question about my back and knowing that I can't sit here and stream for 3 hours at a time, so I was trying to keep that in mind when I was planning what we're doing. Is Grace still around? How are we doing? I've got the lizard body here.
I actually really like the third one.
Yeah.
But I'm interested in hearing what chat thinks.
Yeah, I want to hear too. We've got like, he's like a ground creeper. No.
Grace says it looks amazing.
Oh, good. The third one, Jess agrees with you. Hey Dan, we're just getting started. We've just been sketching. We're trying to decide which one we like best, but I guess I can just, if we're gonna do it in the sketchbook, I can just sketch over all three of them if I don't have to redraw them. I am gonna take a picture though, because I don't wanna like lose the awesomeness that are these creepy sketches before I put paint all over them.
Marley says, I like the ground creeper.
The ground creeper, yeah. All right, I'm gonna get in the camera frame just a second, take a picture of this.
Discreetly Obvious also says, honestly, your channel made me take the plunge into doing more animal artwork instead of fan art, and I love it so much.
That makes me so happy to hear. I'm so glad that you've been enjoying the channel. And oh, someone asked, I don't think I answered the question fully. They were talking about creativity and like how you get to do the imagination part, and that actually has been a huge hang up of mine and why I was so sorry. I know I'm not doing anything in the frame right now, but I talk about it a lot in the patron video when we were doing the live stream for the Chillo Buck, because I was talking about how nervous I was and how I didn't think I'd be able to do it, and being able to just kind of fight through that and then come up with something that was really fun gave me the confidence to want to do more of them. And so that's why I'm here today doing this for you guys, because it gave me like, oh, hey, this is actually fun. And I know it's scary, and you really don't have anything to lose though. So I am a chronic, I don't know if chronic is the right word, but I'm a chronic reference drawer. Like I find a reference and I am pretty true to references when I paint them, which is different than what some other artists do. But with these creature designs, it helps me because this isn't a real animal. I can make it be a little bit more creative and imaginative without straying too much from a realistic animal. I hope that makes sense. Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely. So I'm just going to rearrange here so you guys can get a painting setup going on.
So I am seeing a lot of third one, and then 2 and 3, and then someone saying like 2, but 3 is the close second.
Yeah.
So.
No one I mean, one person said they liked the first one.
I mean, I like it. The other two are just so, like, when you're battling for 3
That's
great
true.
things.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. we can give it a shot. Should I sketch in here? Are people okay with that, or do you want me to transfer them? I think this is fine. It's media paper, right? Mixed media paper. We'll put a little clamp here. Try and hold it down.
Sorry, should I have given you watercolor?
No. I wanted sketchbook paper because I feel too much pressure when I'm in a watercolor sketchbook.
Okay.
Hopefully this will work all right.
I have Mushroom Brain saying, can you show us your palette?
This one right here. I only have my travel supplies with me today. I don't have like my main palette from back home. I have two with me. I think I'm going to be using this one. This is Winsor & Newton. Shocking, I know. Some of you regulars will be like, why did Denise decide to bring Winsor & Newton? Because Denise decided it would be nice to give them another shot because I'm kind of hard on them. I also have my Nila Kalori palette that I've been using a lot recently, but I don't have a good yellow in here, like a bright yellow like a Leopard Gecko, so I'm not going to use that for this particular sketch.
Frosty Girl says, good job taking care of yourself, knowing your limits, and planning is key.
Oh, thank you. Oh no.
Pen Holder Art asks, what brand are you using? And I think we covered that. I love that you mentioned the eco impacts of art in your videos. Wondering if you have any tips, considerations about the disposal of your supplies, empty paints, wastewater, and that comes from Tessa.
Tessa, yeah. This question gets asked a lot. What I typically do if I am using jars of water, I'm not today because I have water brushes, but I'll let the pigment settle to the bottom of the water before I dump out the top of the water. And then I try and scoop out the rest of the pigment that's in there and throw it away instead of putting it down the drain. I know that's not a perfect solution, but it's better than adding all of that to your drinking water. I also try and do my best to stay away from toxic colors when I can. There are some cadmium colors in this particular set because it was gifted to me, but typically in my main palette, I stay away from those.
Mikey Finger says, Winsor & Newton, really?
I know. I knew your eyes were going to be like, what?
And then Grace says, is this actually Denise?
It's me, I swear. Where did the other one go? And so I brought them along because I was thinking about this, and I was like, I know I'm really hard on them. I'm harder on Cotman. Like, I'll just say that because Cotman are not great. But the Winsor & Newton Professional ones, they're okay. They're okay. But the Winsor & Newton Professional ones, I think they're mostly good. I still have a major issue with their burnt sienna. Even if you don't call it burnt sienna, even if you want to call it something else, I just don't think it's a good color. But I like some of the other colors that they offer, and I wanted to bring them on this trip because it's travel, and it's like I'm not going to be doing any super serious artwork here, but at the same time I can give them another shot and see if I was maybe too harsh.
Pen Art Holder says, Winsor & Newton, did you bring a pickaxe?
So.
Question from Mushroom Brains. Are there any non-toxic paints?
Oh yeah, tons of them. I don't have a non-toxic versus toxic. I have a vegan paint video if you're interested in that. I did that last year when people were asking for vegan videos, but vegan does not necessarily mean non-toxic. Cadmiums, cobalts, manganese colors, ceruleans, which are made from cobalts, those are going to be your more toxic pigment groups. But you can find a lot of that information either on artiscreation.com or handprint.com, or even if you're on dickblick.com, the art supply website. They have an information. If you go to any specific paint color and click on it, it'll have toxicity information on there for you. So you can check all that online and see. A lot of them are really harmless though, and especially, oh my gosh, after so you guys are going to be getting the next Let's Learn video soon on the channel, I think in 2 weeks, after the whole approval process goes through. But I was doing oil painting for the first time basically since I was 7. The last remembrance I have of oil painting was when I was 7 and Mom just like left me in the kitchen to paint with them, and like I was using turpentine in the sink. Like I don't know what was going on. It was a different time back then, but but I was just thinking like how much paint I'm using, and even the white that I was using has a warning label on it and use so much white in oils. I don't think I could do it as a full-time medium because of the fact that like you just have to use so much more of that. There's so much more waste. And with watercolor specifically, you use so little pigment compared to other art mediums that I really do honestly feel like it's one of the most eco-friendly options you can do if you want to do painting. So I'm a fan of the watercolors for more reasons than one.
I'm seeing a lot of I hate Cotman, which I am personally offended by. So that's fine. A couple people saying like I like my Prima's better.
Okay. So about the Cotmans, Jenny and I were talking about this when we saw each other back in the summer. I think they changed their formula maybe. I immediately after that bought a new set of Cotmans so I could do a video, and then just in true Denise fashion have not gotten around to it yet. I have it at home though. They're much more easy to re-wet now because she got a new set and she was like, these aren't hard. I don't know what you're talking about. And when I tried out the new set, I was like, oh, you're right. These are a lot easier than they used to be. So
they're kind of nice, right?
I think they maybe changed their formula. They're more pigmented than they used to be. So expect a video in the sometime future where I explore that again. And let me know if that's a priority. If you guys want to see that on the channel, let me know. And I can move that ahead of some other videos if that's something you're interested in. I think I'm going to do this fur on the back here in purple, like the tail. I think that'll be fun.
Eve is back.
Hi, Eve. How was your workout?
Question. Do you think it's a good Christmas wish?
What?
So I'm assuming that it's talking about the paints being a good Christmas gift.
Paints in general or Cotman specifically?
I assumed Cotmans.
If you have someone who is new to watercolor and wants to try it out and you want a really affordable way to do that, based on what I've seen, I've not painted with my set yet. I haven't opened it yet, but from what I've heard from Jenny and from what I saw when I was painting with them with her earlier this summer, I think that they're better and I think they would be fine, especially for the price point that they're at. I personally... Maybe I shouldn't go on record saying this. I think I like the new ones better than I like Prima, but I don't know.
I mean, I have not been shy in telling you that is my personal opinion.
Yeah, Jenny does not like the Primas.
I also don't know much about watercolors,
yeah.
So take that with a total grain of salt.
I think I need to use them more, but I think if you're getting it for someone who's new to watercolor and just wants to explore, I don't think it's a terrible choice anymore. Before I would have said no, because before they were really frustrating to work with, they were hard to re-wet, they weren't pigmented. But if that's what you can afford and there's nothing else in your price range, then I think it's okay to go with that.
And Eve says, unpleasant and sweaty.
Yes, I feel the same way about working out. All right. What color should we do the legs? Are we doing sloth fur colored legs? Are we doing purple legs? You guys let me know. I'll move on to the next one and we can... Because you guys wanted to see these next two anyway. I'm just mixing up colors on my palette. I'm not going to be too particular here. We're just laying in some nice loose washes. I think, was the sloth lighter on the nose?
I thought so.
I want to make sure I'm not misremembering that.
Some people saying
darker.
that mixing gray is weirdly satisfying.
Mixing grays? I really love the Nila Coloris that I got. There's a genuine indigo in there, and that mixed with a little bit of some of the darker earth tones is beautiful. Makes a gorgeous gray color.
Someone says purple legs heart.
Purple legs heart?
Yes. Sorry, I shouldn't say someone. It's either Aisha or Aisha.
Okay.
I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry.
Aisha? You can let us know too. We're happy to, or I'm happy, I don't want to speak for Jenny, but I'm happy to commit that to, or try and commit that to memory
No,
anyway.
I'm stubborn. I will not take in phonetics. I don't care if it's your name.
I do try that with my Patreon streams whenever we get new people in there. I'm like, just let me know what you want me to call you, and I'll do my best to remember. Don't hesitate to remind me. I'm totally fine with that. I feel horrible mispronouncing anyone's name, so just let me know.
I know, me too. But I do it constantly, so it's just something I've gotten used to.
I think all of my years in childcare and child education helped with that, because you have to pronounce so many names when you're a stop-in classroom teacher. So.
Mushroom Brain says, try my name. It's E-L-I-N. So I would say...
Elin?
I would say Elin.
Elin?
I'm not sure. So let us know how he did. And we have a question from Inno, I think, INNO.
Okay.
Do you use opaque colors? If so, what for? I'm thinking of switching some of my opaque colors that came with my Schmika set for transparent ones, but I'm not sure what to do.
It depends on how you like to paint. Transparent colors are easier to not muddy up. So if you want colors that if you have troubles with mixing muddy colors and you really want to avoid that, then transparent colors will be more helpful in that regard. But in the last year or so, I've come to really love some opaque colors. And I did an orangutan, the orangutan I mentioned earlier in the stream for my patrons. You can see that over on Instagram as well. I ended up using Venetian red over the top of the very end of the painting to put in some extra fur texture, and it worked really beautifully. So it definitely has its uses, but it just depends on what you're specifically looking for in a palette. I know that's not a direct answer, but it's really hard to answer a question like that if I don't know your painting style.
Frosty Girl says, excellent, Cotman it is, or would you recommend another inexpensive brand? And also says purple.
If Van Gogh is the same price for you as Cotman, get the Van Gogh, is my opinion. I love Van Gogh watercolors. They're great. They're really pigmented. They're really easy to use. I think they're more fun to use than at least the old Cotmans. I don't know about the new Cotmans. I haven't compared them side by side. And I think I saw somewhere, I glanced up and saw Prima equals Jane Davenport ? And that is the thought process. I cannot confirm that officially, but yes, it is thought that the same distributor makes those two brands of paint.
Lissy has a vote for Sap Green Legs. So
Sap Green Legs.
I think it's been 3 for purple and 1 for Sap Green.
Okay.
But you know, you should do what your heart tells you.
I mean, we haven't put algae on an animal yet. So, I mean, sloths do have algae. Maybe we should have given the mohawk. The mohawk should have been green.
Marley says Van Gogh are what I started with. I adore them.
Yeah, they're really high quality for student grade paint. If you take a look at either my White Nights video that I did earlier this year or my my gift guide that I did 2 weeks ago, I do love White Nights and they're my favorite brand of economy brand paint, but I do think in order to pick out like really nice colors that you should build your own palettes, and I know that's a little bit more technical than some people want to go. So either of those videos can tell you a little bit about how I built that palette together so that you can see if that would be something that you're interested in. Hopefully that makes sense.
We have some people gushing over Van Gogh, and then we also have a couple people saying White Nights are also really good for a beginner.
Excellent. Yeah, the only thing is, and I've said this in other videos, so I apologize for those of you who have heard it from me before, from other people, is that White Nights, the sets that they make, have a lot of opaque colors in them, and they also have some questionable pigments in them. So it's just specifically those paint colors, but you can find light fast and transparent colors in their line. I almost brought them on this trip with me. I didn't, but you can pick out some really gorgeous colors from them, and they're so affordable. They're like $2 a pan over on Jackson's, so you really can't beat them in terms of artist grade paint. How are people liking the coloration on the second one? It's a little bit more natural tones.
Grace says there hasn't been any Quinn Gold. Denise, remedy this.
In this, no Quinn Gold. These animals just aren't Quinn Gold. I do have Winsor Newton's Quinn Gold. It's right here. I think you guys can see that, yeah. I'm trying to decide what color this tail should be. Should I keep it the true to the leopard gecko and being purple, or should it be brown like the legs, or tan like the face? I kind of like tan. But also, if I don't do purple, then we hardly got any leopard gecko in there. It'll have the spots though.
True. While we wait to see if people have opinions, there's a question for how are the pigments? Are there many toxic colors in Van Gogh?
You're going to have to check them one by one. Like it's not that many of them, but if there are true cadmiums, which if someone else can help me out in chat, I haven't used Van Gogh for a while and I didn't get their cadmium colors. Do they have cadmiums or do they have hues? I imagine in a student brand of paint, they're hues, but if it's a cadmium hue or a cobalt hue, you don't have to worry because those are typically cheaper and less toxic paints. You just want to watch out for those heavy metal paints. That's all you have to do is look for those pigments. and otherwise it should be fine.
So I'm seeing a lot of purples and then some tan with a purple tip. Which
interesting.
I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, let's try that out. That's an interesting take on it.
Grace
One
says,
I wouldn't.
Ooh, like an ombre going from tan to purple. Can it be done?
It can be done. We will do it.
Sorry, I just hit the table.
That's okay. Well, I mean, it's fine with me. I don't know how our viewers feel, so I don't want to speak for them or anything. But how are you guys doing with the video and the audio? This is our first time on the new setup on the channel anyway. I've done some test runs over on Patreon, and I really like it. But again, I'm not at home, so I am using a different microphone. And so the audio quality will be more similar to my voiceovers when I get back home.
And I'm here, so it's 10% more annoying.
It's also way more helpful because you're helping me keep up with chat.
Grace says it's looking really nice.
Yay. The picture's clear. I do want to figure out a way at home. I've been looking at wall mounts for cameras so that at home I try and attach it to the bookshelf. My camera's attached to the bookshelf next to my desk, but here it's attached to the table. So anytime we touch the table, it shakes the camera, and I do apologize for that. This little guy in the middle is so cute.
We got more for looks great and the audio is good.
Perfect. All right, we'll let that dry. We'll go on to the last one here. Is it getting too bright? The sun has come out more. I'm worried that, is it too blown out? Or is the picture okay on the white surface?
I think it looks a little washed out,
okay.
But I don't know if there's much to do about that.
Okay.
Grace says it's a tad bright on top.
Okay, let me see real quick. We're going into uncharted territory here, guys. Hopefully I don't lose you. I'm going to turn down the brightness on my camera, but I have to open up some settings to do that. I'm getting really brave. I opened the wrong window somewhere.
Raquel says, son, what is that? I relate. This is the first time I've had my windows open, like, since I moved here a year ago.
Because I opened them.
Because she opened them, and I usually, like, do not like them that way.
What might be more helpful than me doing this, Jenny, is if you're easier to get around the table, if you can go and just, like, angle the blinds a little more upward, so there's less light coming in.
Okay, help direct me.
Yay. Sorry, chat. I have a fun screen that says "Be right back," but then you guys can't hear us talking, so I don't know if you want me to use that or not.
Is that any better?
I think so.
Or a little bit more?
1 second. Let me open OBS. That's fine, I think.
It's fine?
Yeah. Okay. It definitely got less bright in terms of what I'm seeing, so you guys let us know. We tried to adjust the light a little bit. Okay, so this creature down here is pretty much the same creature, actually. That's kind of funny. I didn't notice that until now, which is maybe bad on my part. But this is the same as this creature, basically. But it's in a different position. So do we color it the same, or do we want to explore with a different color combo?
I think you should do a different color combo.
Different color combo?
Space.
All right. Should we do it more Leopard Gecko-y this time?
I think so.
Okay.
Should we wait to hear what chat says, or just go with it?
Well, you know. you have sister pull too.
Okay.
Chat can chime in though.
Mushroom Brain says more purple.
More purple.
I feel like there's a common element of just more purple.
Okay. We could do. Yeah, we'll do like a purple snout and purple tail and purple legs on this one, and then do a yellow body and face.
Someone says make it scaly. Sorry, that was Ian. I keep saying
yeah. I will make it scaly when I do the second wash. We'll put in textures in the second wash.
Someone says more lizard. And we got Grace saying painter's choice.
Painter's choice.
Isa has a question of, have you ever used Finetech or any other metallic watercolor?
I have. I don't know if that I have has given you any indication of my thoughts on them. I don't love them. I think the golds are fine if you're going to use golds. I would like to. I think they're pretty, but I don't ever have a use for them in the subjects I paint. Like, every time I'm like, oh, it'd be nice to add gold, I'm like, to what? Like, they're all natural animals. I don't know what I would add gold to.
What about a fantasy lizard?
It could be a
sloth
fantasy.
creation?
It could be a fantasy one. Not recently, it was a while ago, but I like impulse bought really late at night, which I'm not supposed to do ever. I have a self-imposed ban that I'm not allowed to order anything online after 10 o'clock, and this was definitely after 10 o'clock. I bought their colorful metallic paints after seeing a video on them, and I was like, oh, these are going to be so fun, and then I really didn't like them. So they're still sitting at home. I haven't decided if I want to do a review on them or if I just want to give them away to someone. But yeah, I think they're fine if you like metallic elements. I'm just not a metallic person. Sadly, I apologize.
I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't like my Decadent Pie set very much, because there were like a decent amount of colors that were metallic, and I felt like as a beginner with no other options really, I felt like I couldn't do much with it, and there was a lot of space devoted to metallics. That's
very true. The Finetech palettes are very specialized, so you'd get them if you wanted metallic colors. I personally, after my experience with the colorful one, I would say if you're gonna get one, get them like just the gold set. I think that would be my choice.
Rain has a suggestion of you should use a touch of gold on your uni animals.
Oh yeah, that's not a bad idea.
I think that'd be really cute.
Yeah. We only have one more in the Color Spotlight series.
Just go back and edit them.
I mean, I can certainly do that with the ones I still have, but someone asked about Opaque Colors earlier. The last Color Spotlight video, which was supposed to be this last week, but it wasn't because I wasn't feeling well. But our last color is Venetian Red, which is the first opaque color that we're going to be looking at in the Color Spotlight series. So if you stay tuned for that, I will probably be talking about it in that video. How's the purple coming? Are we reaching acceptable levels of purple? I do like this paper dries really fast, so you can do layers on it really easily.
Yeah, but that means that if you do a wash, it's so hard to do it.
That's what's great about sketches, is that they usually don't require huge washes. This tail is the biggest area that I'm going to be painting.
Penholder Art says, I love Venetian Red. What brand are you using?
Well, I don't have any in this set. My favorite version of PR 101 in the opaque variety is probably Ingram's Terra Rosa in that Venetian Red color, but I also have been playing a lot with the Caput Mortem-ish type colors lately, or Violet Iron Oxide is another name it goes by, and I like those. They're a much deeper red type of color, and those are really fun to play with.
Mushroom Brain says, question, what colors do you recommend for a primary palette? And then also, sorry for abusing the questions, but I like all our questions. So. There's a cat picture, so my mind automatically. Words go.
Yeah. It's so hard to answer that. Otto's doing a series right now on color palettes, and I have a full video over on Skillshare for my color palette choices, and we talk about the base primary colors in that. We also talk about that in the color mixing video. So both videos that I have over on Skillshare, both classes, talk about that pretty extensively. Other than to say like a warm and cool each primary, I can tell you my quick favorites, but I can't tell you whether or not those would be good for you unless I knew your painting style. But I like either a Quinn Rose or a Carmine from Daniel Smith for my cool red. I like Pyrrole Red, PR 254 for my warm red. I like French Ultramarine for my warm blue. I like Phthalo Blue for my cool blue. Or actually, you know what? I take that back. I've been having a love affair with Phthalo Turquoise lately. PB16, the single pigment, not like Daniel Smith's dual pigment, but the PB16 I would put in a palette these days before I put in PB15. It's a greener variety, so you get more range. And then for yellows, I really like any warm yellow, really like a PY65, Hansa Yellow Deep, and lemon yellow from Daniel Smith, which is PY175. That's my favorite cool yellow. So that's kind of why it's hard for me to give answers. It takes a lot of time to answer that, and it's also not a complete answer, just for any future references on that question. But my Skillshare classes, I tried really hard to make them really comprehensive. If you don't already have a Skillshare account and haven't been there, a lot of my videos have free links to that, so you can try it out for free. It's risk-free. You can cancel it before they charge you, so feel free to check those out if you're interested. Do you guys like the texture on this tail going on? This is some of the wrinkles that I was talking about before. Are we bright again? Are we too bright? Oh, God. Oh, we're so bright. Jenny, interrupt me. Talk about something. Tell me to stop. Yikes.
I'll go adjust. I'm sorry.
Oh, Lord. I'm sorry, chat. I'm sorry.
This is my first time.
I know. Oh, gosh.
How's that?
Oof.
More?
I think that's okay.
What if I do that? Is that bad?
I don't know. That might be too dark.
Too dark?
We'll see what chat says. We'll see what chat says. Chat, you can chime in too. I don't know if you have already, but
I'm paying more attention to the chat than the screen.
That's okay. Chat, you can tell us. Be like, hey, Denise, we can't even see what you're working on, because... Is that better or is that too dark?
Raquel says, this is what sun does. Ian says, close the blinds or curtains.
Yes, that's what we were doing. We just don't want it to be too dark and too warm, I guess, because the sunlight was much cooler, and now we've got the warm indoor light, so I don't want your color calibration to be too far off. Did we ever decide on these legs? Did people say purple?
I think most people said purple, and then
Okay.
we got one sap green.
Okay.
So I feel like that's the pool you choose from.
All right, we'll do purple.
Question. What is your perfect amount of colors for a palette? Mine is 24 at the moment.
I like 18 to 24.
And that was from Discreetly Obvious.
18 to 24 is a good number.
Question from Lissy. What are your thoughts on the M. Graham pre-made 5-2 sets?
They have so many of them, guys. So, like, it's a great, affordable way to get the colors. Just do your research and decide what colors that you want to add to your collection. And if you want all the colors that are in one of those sets, by all means pick it up, because they're super affordable in that format. Just make sure that you're looking at all the colors and making sure you'll get good use out of them. I was just talking about this the other day with my Spoonies chat, that it's only a good value if you're going to use the colors that are in there. So, man, I just realized it's a different color. It's like bluer than the tail
someone
is.
actually said, where was it? I lost it, but someone said you should try a different shade of purple for the legs.
Yeah, it's, oh, they told me to do a different shade? Oh, okay. Well, then there you go.
You're just following the chat without even realizing it.
Yeah, this is,
from Aisha.
It's much bluer than the tail is.
Ino has a question of, is there a convenience green that you would use if you didn't have all that precious DS sap green?
I don't have all that precious sap green. I have like the tiniest bit of it left, and the rest I have to mix myself. Their new formula is the closest I found. So I've looked everywhere. I've done everything I can. Daniel Smith's replacement is the closest that I've found to my favorite version of that color. I also really like, I think this is the first time I'm saying it on the channel, but Indian Throne Blue, PV60, and Gold Green, PY 129. That makes a really nice sap green too.
Can you put some sap green, like, leaves? These are so cute.
Thank you. Maybe. I'm not much of a background painter. I feel like, even though this is a sketch, I feel like I would kind of ruin it, and that maybe I should practice some leaves before slapping them on here. But we can maybe put some on around the tree branches. I want to add some more texture to this yellow down here. It's kind of flat, so I mixed up a little bit of a warmer yellow and my yellow ochre. Kind of dot that in here.
I'm slow, but this was supposed to relate to the primary set. Mikey
Okay.
asks, what 1 or 2 colors would you add to the primary set first if you were working with the split primary? Burnt sienna, maybe?
Yeah, only one. I only get to pick one.
He said 1 or 2.
1 or 2. I would say yellow ochre and burnt umber, actually, I think. I think burnt umber is a little bit more versatile because it's darker than burnt sienna, and you can add a little bit of red to it to make it more burnt sienna-like. So if I could only pick 2, I think it would be yellow ochre and burnt umber. But also, I mean, it's me and it's earth tones, so I'm sure, like, Otto is talking about her set recently. Oh, I know this is like the perfectly wrong time to have her here. Sorry, Otto, if you're watching the replay of this. I know it's like the middle of the night in the UK right now, so. She was talking about how in her 12 color set, she picks the color wheel colors. Whereas, like, I don't know if you've noticed, I'm sure you have, that lime green never makes it onto any of my palettes ever. Like, it's not a color that I ever find myself needing or reaching for. And if I am going to pick that type of color, it would be like a PY 129 type of color, which is closer to yellow. So like she would pick 2 totally different colors, I'm sure, in terms of adding just 2 to a primary set. But I would add earth tones because earth tones.
Discreetly Obvious says, I wonder how many of us spoonies are artists. I'm still trying to manage chronic fatigue among with other disabilities and running a channel while doing convention and markets.
It's hard. This isn't meant to discourage you or anything, but for me personally, I decided to give up cons earlier this year and focus on my online business because I had one convention that set me back. I was in Flair for a month after the con, and I was just like, that's not a way to live life. I can't be in a Flair for an entire month and miss out on all that other work. So for me personally, I left that scene. But if you don't already know about it, I have a Spoonies.
Grace linked to it.
Oh, good. Thank you, Grace. A Spoonies Discord, and you'll see friendly faces over there that are here on the channel, and everyone's super helpful, and there's different chats for different things, whether or not you're wanting help with pain management or just venting or talking about stress that goes along with your pain management. So it's a really great community. I think Grace is the one who suggested it, so we have her to thank. Everyone thank Grace. Her and Otto, I believe, were suggesting we start up that chat. And that was, how long ago was that, Grace? I feel like that was way earlier this year. It's been a while. Am I getting too detailed? How long have we been streaming?
69 minutes ago.
Okay. We're still doing all right. My body's starting to talk to me a little bit, but it's okay. I'm still at manageable levels. But it's definitely like good to check in with your body and be like, all right, well, I can't do a full another hour with this, but maybe we can get another half hour out of me. Is the light still looking good?
Well, I think it's a little washed out on the top here. What do you think?
Okay. Gosh darn it, guys.
Sorry, I'll get the blinds again.
No, how about this? Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to show you my fancy new I'll be right back screen. I'm going to change the camera setting real quick, and I'll be back in like 1 minute. Oh, nope. No, stop. Okay, apparently I can't do that, guys. Apparently I can't change a setting when I'm not in this screen. So that didn't happen. You'll just have to listen to us struggle.
Meredith says, there's a Spoonie art Discord. Also hi.
Yay! Yes. Awesome Discord for our little watercolor channel group. Also hi.
And Grace said, I did. I was really excited when you did it.
Yay.
And people are very happy about it, in fact.
Okay, I knocked down the brightness. No, it still looks terrible. This is, okay guys, I love natural light. I love being outside. You know this. It's great for taking pictures.
It's awful.
But when you're dealing with a video over a course of 2 hours, you do not want natural light. You want studio light that is not going to change on you.
Let me know when you're ready for questions. I know
Sure.
this takes brain power.
Is that better? I don't feel like that's doing anything. What is wrong with you? Okay, guys. Oof.
Sorry.
I apologize. Here I was thinking, finally, no more technical difficulties ever again.
The bottom ones look pretty good, though.
Yeah, I think it's just that upper corner that's closest to the light. The thing is I've turned down the settings 3 times, and I feel like it has not changed anything. It's the last one I'm comfortable with, guys. It's pretty low. Did I lose anyone? I apologize. Our numbers don't look like they're down, so hopefully that's okay.
But we do have the delay. So
We do have the delay. Maybe they'll taper off and I won't see you guys when I'm actually saying those things on stream. Do you want to close the blinds just a little bit more?
Sure.
And then we'll call it a day. Try and just go with the flow, guys.
Was that too dark?
Oh, that's probably really dark, but let's see. That's maybe a tiny bit lighter.
The sun will just move
it's
in
too
2
light.
seconds.
A little darker. Perfect. All right. I love to see so many new faces in the chat. I'm so glad that you guys could join us. I know this was impromptu for most of you. I did let my patron and the Discord, the Spoonies Discord, know I'd be going up. But typically I release videos in the morning. As I mentioned, our friends in the UK and in Europe are probably sleeping.
Well, Ian said a while ago that it was only about 9.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Is my math that off? Maybe my math is off. That's right, Ian. You're in the UK, right?
So we have 2 questions that we're back on.
Okay.
Firefox Hands says, have you ever taken classes? I've been painting for 3 years now, trying to find my style and wonder if it would help.
So every artist is going to have a different answer to this for you. I did not study it in school. I did take 2 semesters at like an adult education community situation when I decided I wanted to get into watercolors, but before I started my channel. And I feel like that helped a little bit. It was a unique class in that it was an all levels class. So like we would talk about a general concept, and then they would let us just go on our own and paint and like ask questions if we had questions. So it wasn't like a structured class. And I think I personally do better in a structured class. So I use Skillshare a lot, which are technically classes. I use YouTube videos. I'm a visual self-learner, so I like to find videos that kind of display certain topics. I don't do well retaining information in written form. So the short answer is yes, technically I've taken 2 watercolor classes that were the same basic class, like we just talked about different concepts, but you can learn a lot of things online these days. If you learn better in person, you can probably look at your local like adult education classes or community colleges or community centers even, and they might have something for you if you want to do that, but I wouldn't. If it's inconvenient for you, I wouldn't bend over backwards. There's also a lot of artists who offer workshops versus classes. And if that's ever something you're interested in, if you ever have a favorite artist that's offering a workshop, your local art store might know about it and you could sign up that way.
For the Love of Loot says, hi everyone, this is my first time interacting, but I've been lurking for a long time.
All right, hi, welcome to chat.
I am also generally a lurker, and if my sister was not my sister, I would still be a lurker.
Yeah.
So, I get it. Faith says, no, not sleeping, I live in Holland, and it's 2200.
Okay.
That's 10, right?
Yeah, 10. All right, not too late then.
Max. This is my first time to you live. So I'm so excited. I love watching these videos, says Noelle.
Oh, hi, Noelle.
Then Marley said a while ago, other than your Skillshare, your classes on Skillshare, which ones do you love?
On Skillshare? Like other people's classes on Skillshare?
It was a while ago, so I forget the context.
Marley, are you still in chat? Can you let us know? I'm sorry I was yammering on.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's probably my fault.
The thing happened.
The vision happened. The Denise rambling on forever about nonsense happened. So let us know what your specific question was if you have other questions about that.
She said she just made an account. Sorry. She said yes, and she's chiming in now. So. Oh yeah, I just made an account, so I think she's referring
wanting to know what other classes are there. I think the trending page is a really cool way to find new classes. They have a lot of really seasoned teachers on there that have been doing it for a long time. Our friend Arlisha is over there.
She said I already have Arlisha.
Yeah, our friend Arlisha's over there. We have so many people that are over on that platform. Troopty, if you know her, Watercolor gal on Instagram, she makes her own paints with Blue Pine Arts, and she has some classes. Vanessa just came out. Hers is Sprout Creative over on Instagram. Oh, there's so many good artists over there. Sade has classes over there. I don't want to forget anyone. I always feel like an awful friend if I forget my friends. But Sade has some classes over there. It just matters. Like, the great thing about Skillshare is you're paying $10 a month, which is already super affordable. I don't mean this to sound like a plug. This is obviously not a sponsored video or anything, but like, if you think about that question about
you're not getting money from them right now? I totally am. They know who I am.
They know who Jenny is. She's getting paid for moderating. That's a joke. But
very much a joke.
The thing is, someone asked before about taking classes. So my class that I took at the community college, that was just kind of like, it was fun. It was nice to go and report somewhere every week and like have that, but it was $150. And Skillshare is $10 a month or $15 a month, depending on what plan you are. And if you don't like the class, you don't have to keep watching it. So that's kind of the flexibility I like. I'm kind of like, I have a short attention span. So if I'm watching something that doesn't directly apply to something I want to know, like I can bounce around to another video and like you're not penalized for that at all. So that's one of the reasons I like the platform, is that you can find a teacher that you really resonate with and that you learn well from. Like, for instance, like if someone doesn't learn well from my style, if they don't want the more like technical side of things, they can go find someone else's video that just talks about painting more and less about pigments. And in that way, everyone has something different that they can reference. Did I get off topic again? I'm sure I did.
I mean, it's inevitable.
It's inevitable. It's you. Whatever.
A name I'm not going to try to pronounce says, have you ever had trouble traveling with watercolors, particularly getting paint through airport security? And we had a couple of other people chime in.
Okay. Was it a little while ago? I don't see it on my screen.
It was. And somebody said basically if they're in Wells, you shouldn't have a problem. But yeah. Do you have any personal experience with that?
I've not traveled with tubes, so I can't give you answers for that. For a really long time, I was worried I wouldn't travel with my Schmincke paints, and I still actually don't, because I'm like, oh, they're Schmincke, they're so expensive. I don't want to travel with them in case anything happens. But every time I travel, I bring at least 1 or 2 palettes in this form, and they've literally never stopped me for it. They don't even ask me to take out my water brushes, even though there's water in them technically. I just leave them in my bag and they go through TSA fine. So I think you're fine with those as long as I don't know how tubes work, because that is technically a liquid. And especially if you have some like the more toxic, I have no idea if someone else has experience with that, but pans, you're fine.
Grace chimed in and said there are probably forums talking about like engrams specifically through security, because I think that's what she was worried about. Mm-hmm. So awesome.
Cool. I see Andrew's in the chat. Hi, Andrew. That's Schnauzer Face Minis. He's one of my patrons.
Oh, that's who asked the question.
Oh, yeah, Schnauzer Face Minis.
I didn't know how to spell Schnauzer. Sorry.
That's okay. Hey, Andrew. I was wondering if that was him, because I saw his name in chat and I was like, I don't see the question, but maybe that's the one she can't pronounce.
That was just that long ago. Elf Lord's Journeys says, hi, Denise. This is an interesting study.
Yeah.
These are always my favorite.
It's different from my channel, I know. It's the first time I've done anything like this on the channel, but I had so much fun with my patrons. If you didn't hear that little spiel earlier, that I really wanted to try it out. I'm just gonna switch water brushes because this one is getting low.
Want me to fill it?
Nah, it's fine. This one's full. So it's really different. Let me know what you guys think of it. If you're watching the replay later, let me know what your thoughts are. We were talking before the stream and I was getting really nervous and like psyching myself out. And I was like, Jenny, I don't know if I can do it. It's too much pressure to like have to paint on stream. And I was like, I've got my Windsor Newtons. What if we just do a swatch with me video? She's like, you should do an Instagram poll. And I'm like, that'll take too much time. So we just went with the plan B that we've been planning for months. So that's what you're getting today. And I hope you guys have fun with it. But in the future, I can also keep just watching videos if you guys prefer that. Or do a mixture of both. Now that I have my streaming set up, I can live stream more.
Tasia says, love that third creature.
Oh, this one down here? Yay. I like how it looks like a stuffed animal, like something you could just hug. Like, it's very plush.
Somebody, or Inno said, life hack, transport illegal substances in water brushes because there's
no, don't do that, guys. No, I'm not advocating for that at all. Water only.
Wanted to bring a PSA up.
I'm a goody two-shoes, guys. I play by the rules.
I can vouch for that.
I apologize.
So boring. For the love of loot, says Denise, I really need a purple and yellow sloth in my life IRL.
Okay, all right, we'll try and make it happen. I don't know how they do it. I don't know their manufacturing process at all, but oh my gosh, what is her name? I think her Instagram handle is Kiki Doodles, and she does permaids, which are cat mermaids, and she has like a Kickstarter right now that she's doing germaids, which are dog mermaids. She draws her concepts and then makes them into stuffed animals, and I think it's super cool. I just don't know how that process goes at all. I can always tell when chat's talking about something funny because Jenny's over here giggling.
They said if TSAs are getting strict about art supplies because of this video, I'm blaming you, Denise.
If who does?
If TSAs are getting strict about art supplies.
Oh yes, I'm sure they're all watching. I mean, I'm sure they can tell in like the little monitor. It sees all kinds of stuff, but I have gotten pulled over. Like I was traveling with a plug-in heat pad like for my shoulders, and I put that on my carry-on because it didn't fit in my packed luggage, and they stopped me for that. Like they took out everything in my bag and was like, why do you have this giant corded padded blanket? I'm like, I have a bad back, I'm sorry. But they also during that process took out my watercolors, and they didn't even open the boxes. They didn't care. So that was not their concern.
Oh, and a correction. I said Tasia, and she said that her name is actually pronounced like Fantasia.
Tasia.
So Tasia.
Okay. Thank you for letting us know, Tasia. Like I said, always correct us.
Mikey says, don't apologize for being a goody two-shoes. Someone has to be to make the bad of us look good. To make the bad of us look bad, I mean. So.
Oh.
Because if everyone's bad, then it's just
you know? I always wondered, I've not gotten to play a proper D&D game, like a campaign. I've only played a one-off before, so I've never done like the alignment thing. But I feel like, I don't think I'm, what's the lawful good? I don't know if I'm lawful good. I feel like I might be on the outskirts of one of those, but I don't know which one.
I think you're neutral good.
Neutral good?
Because like you follow your own set of morality, and the laws don't make it right. What you believe is right makes it right.
Okay, yeah. That sounds like me.
Jacqueline says, question.
Jacqueline, hi.
Did I know you were going to
I made a little post about it on Patreon, but it was only this morning. I apologize, and I know it was in the middle of the day. But it's good to see you, Jacqueline. Are you home from work? Get to relax now? Grace is saying we should start a D&D channel on this server. That would be fun. I got a set, I think last year for Christmas. I asked for the D&D starter set. So I was like, if no one will play with me because no one wants to be the GM, I should learn how. But I didn't really want to be the GM because I want to create a character and like have that whole persona. DM, what did I say?
GM.
Oh, I didn't mean GM, I meant DM. So like I got the whole set, but then I haven't learned how to do it because secretly I'm just holding out that someone else will do it so that I can make my own character because that's really the part that I'm interested in.
Ian says you are a dark Sith Lord and you know it.
Oh yes, all the way.
I think that's more me. That's fair.
What are you, Jenny? Do you know?
I don't know.
Chaotic something.
I don't think I'm chaotic. I am, like, I won't cross the street.
Oh, okay.
Like, if it's, like, a red hand,
okay.
Unless I'm on, like, the 16th Street Mall in Denver, because there's a street that just has buses going one way. So if it's the hand and I already see the bus pass, I will walk. Because there's no chance of anything happening.
Okay.
But I have very weird morality rules. I don't know what it is.
Okay. We'll have to figure that later. Maybe off stream.
Jessica says, I've always wanted to try D&D, but I don't know anyone that knows how to do it, and I'm clueless.
I know. So I played it once, and I'm not saying, like, I think I could be a DM. Like, I don't think that I'm incapable of that. And I like organization, right? So, like, that I wouldn't have a problem with. I just really want to create, like, some huntery elf with the animal companion and just get to be her. So... Spoiler alert, that's what my character on WoW is.
Penholder Art says, I've heard that the dark side has cookies.
You know what? I have cookies too. So
maybe there is something to this.
Oh, maybe.
That you are dark because you have cookies.
Or maybe I'm not dark because my cookies turned into a bag of crumbs on the flight here.
They're still cookies. It doesn't matter what configuration they're in.
You guys, I've been eating homemade Cookie Crisp cereal unintentionally for the last 3 days because all of my cookies got smashed on my way to Denver. So I'm just emptying them into a bowl and pouring milk on them and eating them with a spoon. So live your best life. No one's going to judge you. You're fine.
Discreetly Obvious says, my D&D group is full of spoonies.
Oh, how awesome. I'm so glad that you guys get to do that together.
And they also say that I'm supposed to be the DM for my first game, which sounds terrifying and awful.
That does sound scary.
But you're the one who makes up the rules, so I guess
that's true.
Can't be that bad.
It would be really fun because I guess you do get to create characters, especially if you're playing with a smaller group, but like not to the same extent that the other characters get to have like their stories and everything. I don't think she would mind me sharing this. The first one-off game that I played, the only one-off game I played, was actually with Jennifer Charlie. I was playing with her and some of her friends, and they made it so fun, and they had like little boards that had like figures in them and stuff, and it was really fun, and I just want to do it again.
Z-Sitter asks, do you roleplay on WoW, Denise?
No, I don't roleplay, no. I think once, Jenny, a long time ago, like years and years ago, you had me create a character on an RP server, and I managed like 2 levels, and then I was like, okay, bye. I'm good.
I played on a roleplay server for a while, and I never roleplayed, but my favorite thing to do was hang out in like the good area. What's the Goldshire?
Oh, the human starting area?
Yeah, but that inn had the biggest group of people, and if you go into the bedrooms,
is this gonna get a little sketchy?
I'm just gonna say you see a lot of funny stuff.
Yeah, let's end it there. Yeah, it's one of those things that it's really funny because I stopped playing WoW for years. I just didn't have time to play. Okay, some of you guys already know this. I'm a 1 game at a time type of person, and Heroes of the Storm has been my flavor of the month for the last 4 years. So I play Heroes of the Storm, which is another Blizzard game. And so I stopped playing WoW so that I'd have time to play Heroes. And Jenny wasn't really playing anymore at the time. And so I only was playing at the start to play with her. And so I stopped playing. Then I reinstated my account and I went back to my first character ever, which was, I was playing Horde with her, but I went back to an alliance, like a night elf hunter, and played her because she had more story to uncover, and I was doing a lore run where I wanted to hear about the storyline. And somehow within like playing her, I don't know if it's my desire to play D&D or something, but I didn't role play, but I took on like her persona, and I would like not do quests that required me just to kill a bunch of animals just for the sake of it. That is a sense of role playing. Like I definitely took that on, and I was like, I'm not going to do this. That's not something my character would do. That seems rude. And so like I should also start and say like I don't interact with other people when I play. Like I'm not in a guild. I don't play with anyone else. It's a very solo game for me, which I know is not how most people play that game. But I've just been finding out with the lore and the stories and running around with my pets and collecting lots of, not battle pets, but like my hunter pets. I tamed a really rare turtle that killed me twice before I killed it, but I felt really accomplished. And then I looked up afterwards and people were like, oh yeah, that one's so hard to tame. And I'm like, yeah, I did it. I figured out the puzzle and I didn't even have to look it up. Although we have strayed quite far from watercolor. So I apologize to those of you who have no desire in this conversation whatsoever. We can get back on track.
Ian asks, is that D&D board game or the online game?
The D&D, the one I played was in person. I think that you can play.
There's definitely a D&D online.
Yeah. The one I played was in person. And I think that's how I would want to play a role-playing game. For me, like, I like the sense of community, which shouldn't surprise anyone given my normal stance on things. But...
I have to interrupt everything right now because Discreetly Obvious just says, anyone who wants to get in D&D, watch Critical Role or listen to The Adventure Zone. And The Adventure Zone is by far my favorite podcast, so, like, highly recommend because the Mackle Boys are great.
Okay, I've not heard it before, so I don't know.
I failed you as a sister.
You didn't mention that one. There's so many things that I listen to now because you recommended them, but that was not one of them. I've not heard about it before.
Well, because I didn't think you'd like it, but, like, it's the only podcast that's made me, like, laugh and cry. Aww. Like, it actually, I still listen to, like, the final episodes of, like, the first arc they do, and I cry.
I did start watching a little bit of Critical Role. Honestly, it's too much of a time commitment for me because they have so many episodes and they're so long.
But you don't have to get through them.
Right? I know. But, like, I just feel like I was going to start watching. Have they started the next season yet? I was going to start when they started a new season, but I don't know if they started or not. Anyway, I started watching it because I call her Jaina Bailey. That's not her name. Her name is Laura Bailey. She plays Jaina in World of Warcraft, but she's on Critical Role, and I love her as a voice actress. And so I started watching for her, honestly. Okay. Coming back to our...
All right.
Creatures. We were doing a thing.
I was just reading chat.
How are we looking? What are our feelings about things? Are we coming along nicely? I know no one has eyes yet. I apologize. I always do that last. I'll paint in some branches here. Maybe we can do, you guys want a green really bad, so maybe I can do some moss on the trees. Somehow ended up with the brush with little water back in my hand. I do that.
That's fun.
I trade off on brushes all the time.
Jacqueline says, okay, for those of us who wouldn't know D&D if it attacked me, I want Jennifer to talk about how her watercoloring is going.
Oh, Jenny?
So I think that's referring to. I could be absolutely wrong and just narcissistic and be like, let me tell you about my story.
Well, since Jennifer Charlie isn't in chat, we'll safely try and assume that it's you.
All right. I mean, I think it's okay. I think I struggle a lot with sketching. So, like, if I get bored, I'll just start, like, doing, like, weird rainbows kind of patterns so I can use watercolors. And I try to figure out, like, how they layer or how they, like, behave without actually using them in some sort of, like, piece context. So I would say not that great, but also not terrible.
Yeah. We made a swatch chart for her palette last night, or she did, really. I just did a few measurements and then handed it off to her. Did you have fun with that one?
I did.
With hesitation. There's a hesitation in there.
Math is hard. And even though I am technically an engineer, I program things to do math for me, so I never have to think about it.
Fair enough.
So it was fun. I haven't used watercolor in a while. I've been playing around with ink a little bit more, so it matters less when that bleeds into other things. Because black ink is always black.
That is true. Did I just see that there are 40 episodes in the new campaign? did I miss something? Like, I don't feel like it's been 40 weeks since I said I needed to watch Critical Role. Maybe I didn't know they started. Didn't they start their new channel recently? Like, they went off of Geek and Sundry and started their own YouTube channel? It's fine. I said we wouldn't go back there. I apologize. Jacqueline, I'm sorry. I know this is not what you're here for. I kind of like that, though. I like that within our watercolor community, there's so many different interests and different things that people like to do. And it's fun to see how they interact with your watercolor self.
Yeah, because everyone's multidimensional, right?
It's the first time I've gotten a hair in the painting this whole time.
Oh, is it mine?
I have no idea, but it's not Cricket, or maybe it is. Could have traveled on my clothes, but normally I would have had like 12 hairs by now, so.
In the chat, we have a couple people saying like, oh, that sounds like me, and that's so helpful to learn though, so I'm glad that I'm not alone.
Yay!
And Mikey says that's actually what I'm trying to do, Jennifer. Build my technical skills before I try to do any specific pieces.
Oh, it just clicked in my head. Your screen name is Jennifer. Okay. I was like, why is everyone calling you Jennifer? I was like, oh yeah, her handle says Jennifer. Okay. That makes sense.
Because it's my actual name.
Yes. Growing up, guys, little backstory. Do you mind if I say, like...
No, go for it.
Jenny was a Jenny. She was never Jennifer. She was never Jen. It was always Jenny. And it wasn't...
like, I will punch you if you call me Jen. It took me, like, until 2 weeks or 2 years ago, I would punch somebody if they called me Jen.
Okay, you wouldn't actually punch them, but you'd want to.
No, I would. And then I got a job and realized, oh, that's harassment, and I can get fired for that, so I stopped.
Anywho. So she's always been Jenny, and it's only been recently where she has been allowing Jennifers, and so I'm still getting used to it because our whole life she's been Jenny. But I know that things change and I have to adapt with the times.
Oh, it's also been hard at work because people like quoting Forrest Gump a lot at my work because I work with a lot of like middle-aged men. Okay. And I feel like that's prime Forrest Gump demo.
Yeah, that is, yeah.
So...
Uh-oh, am I shaking the table that much, guys? Yell at me. Yell at me if I'm doing things that are terrible. I just saw my water glass move. See? And I told Jenny before the stream, she was like, do you want a full glass of water? I was like, I probably won't drink it this whole stream, and I haven't stopped until just now.
Well, we have a question for Ian Jackson. I feel so popular now because he's asking me if I'm one of the spoonies. Luckily, I'm not. Like, it's so awesome that I feel like you, Denise, have this, like, great community that you can bond with. Yeah. And I feel like as kind of, like, I don't know, I haven't found my group of people yet. Like, I'm not a spoonie, I'm not an artist, like, I'm not really a gamer. Like, I don't fit into a lot of categories. So, in a way, I feel like spoonies are just, like, it's awesome that you have this community, and I'm kind of jealous, but I would not trade that for all the chronic pain I know you guys go through, and I don't know how you, live like that.
I hope you find your people soon. But yeah, I do love that we have our community. Luckily, Jenny is not in that community. I know she gets to be... I feel like we've talked about this before. Like, most of the things that could have gone wrong health-wise have all landed on me. Like, I just accumulated them all. So, most of them. Not all of them, but most of them.
I am the luckiest person in the world. I feel like I will say that right now.
Yeah. I definitely was handed more than my fair share of the genetics mishaps. But that's okay. That's the cards I was dealt with. No use harping on it. But see, Jenny, I told you they would want to talk to you.
Well, that's good to hear. Just in time for me to, like, say goodbye and then never visit because I never leave my house.
Well, I'll come back to Denver sometime. We'll do a reunion. I don't know why. I think this is a spoonie thing. I don't know if other spoonies can relate. The longer that I've lived with chronic pain, the more and more I stumble over words and the less eloquent I have become. Like, I used to give hour-long presentations and sounded like a perfectly composed adult and well-meaning person. And now I'm like, well, there's a reason I spend 8 hours editing my videos, you guys. This is what you get otherwise. My stream of consciousness takes us many other places.
Honestly, I personally, maybe it's just because I know you better, I prefer your stream of consciousness a little bit more because I feel like it's more authentic to who you are.
Oh, thank you.
And like, I still laugh at your videos from like 2 years
ago.
Oh
God, don't even mention those. They're terrible.
You have like your phone voice on and you can tell you're so nervous.
I've definitely gotten more comfortable with you guys and YouTube and recording, and I can't even watch my older videos. I'm like, oh, please don't. You know, it's taken me a lot not to go back and delete a lot of them. Like, I'm just like, oh.
Perfectly fair. Tasia has a recommendation of if I like working with ink, use the Skillshare and check out Marie Nolworm.
Okay.
Have you heard of her?
I haven't.
I will definitely check that out because I think ink is awesome.
So chat just kind of jumped pretty quick.
For the Love of Loot says, my husband makes similar comments about my genetics for good reason. And then Jacqueline says, don't worry, Denise, we got your back.
Yay, thanks, Jacqueline.
Marley says, I am the Jenny in my sister relationship. I have a sister with chronic pain and a sister who has type 1 diabetes. Aww. I'm so sorry. That must be so hard.
Yeah. I'm going to do some more erasing, guys. I'm going to take the thing off the table so I don't take you for a nausea ride with me. Just erasing some of the big chunky marks next to the tail here. On number 3 that you guys like so much. Make him look nice and pretty.
Grace says, my husband is like that. He'll say something and I'm just like, you're so healthy, you jerk. And like, oh, this food might be going bad. I'll eat this quickly. I would die.
Oops. I just dropped a piece of eraser on your floor.
That's fine.
A piece of the eraser broke off like an hour ago and I've just been using it ever since, but then I dropped it on the floor.
And there are some people talking about like brain fog, which I'm sure is something you talk about a lot. And Mikey says, I don't know if my brain fog is at work or my brain damage, but lately I can't even remember something that's happened like 5 minutes ago.
Oh yeah, it's so hard.
And people are saying like same, like it's so relatable.
The thing is, if you guys are wondering, if you're non-spoonies that don't really comprehend this part, which is totally fine, it bounced a ways over there. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, is that your brainwave, like physically what's happening in your body is that your brain is making connections for you to cope with whatever chronic illness that you have, and that applies for a variety of different things. And then it takes away those pathways from normal connections. So it's like an actual neurological situation that regardless of what chronic pain you're going through, your body has to cope with that pain and like find ways to deal with it. So you do actually become like, it's harder to keep up in those other areas. I'll speak for myself. I'm not gonna speak for anyone else, but I've become like legitimately less put together, less well-spoken, even sometimes less intelligent. Like there's things I can't remember anymore. Like it's watercolors and animals. It's all I get. Like it's those two things that I'm really passionate about. So it's tough, but oh yeah, Grace, you put it perfectly. You joke that your brain is a jerk, but really it's doing the best it can. It's a great way to put it. I'm just reading chat. Jenny's on her way back. She had to go in the other room for just a second. We're just talking about spoon stuff. I think we're good though. I was gonna ask you guys, the reason I was erasing this stuff down here is, do you want me to put like little grass under this guy?
Maybe grass or like a rock or something?
I feel like he's creeping on the ground. Okay. But it can be a dirt ground or it can be a grassy ground. Or it can just be, he can be floating.
What about a cloud? What if he's just floating?
He's on a cloud. He's climbing through the clouds.
Yeah, gecko landscape. Rocks? Says Grace.
I think I should have drawn if I was going to do rocks, I could have put the rocks in first, because then like he could have been angled up on one and like crawling onto another. Right now his butt is just like slightly higher up in the front of his body. So maybe a little bit. I don't know. I feel like he's definitely on a flatter surface based on his posture. Flat. That's true. Just be like a big flat rock. Mesa.
What kind of environment do
leopard geckos live in? They live in the desert, like a rocky desert. Just so that you guys know, I think most of you guys who've been around YouTube know this, but chat is visible after the stream. So just make sure that you guys know that before sharing information. If you guys do want to talk more about Discord or spoony stuff, there's the Discord, and that's more of a semi-private format, if you guys are wondering. Okay, well, since it was Grace's suggestion, we're going to do the rock, because Grace wanted the rock.
Discreetly, obvious also says dirt ground.
Dirt ground. Do like I hope I don't mess it up, guys. That would be tragic at this point, because it's everyone's favorite so far.
Ian says, put it on a birthing ball.
I don't think he's quite curved around for that, Ian.
This name I still can't say, and I'm so sorry. Please tell me how to pronounce it. But the question is, Jennifer, are you also an animal lover or keep any pets? I am not. Like, I don't hate animals. I hate birds. I will say that.
Yeah, she doesn't like birds at all.
They're very loud, and I don't enjoy that. But I think animals are fine. I don't have any pets at my current place because I think it's irresponsible for me to do so. I commute over an hour to work every day, and I wouldn't want to do that to my pets, like not be around them for 12 hours.
It's very admirable that you would consider that and put that first. Like, I mean that sincerely. It's always sad for me when I have friends that get animals and they're never home, you know.
Kayla says, yes, I hate birds too. I'm so glad I'm not alone, and like, same. So, Frosty Girl has the comment for when you interjected and said, hey, be careful, guys, about sharing information you don't want everyone to know. And she says, everything you put on the internet is out there forever.
That's true. That's true. So I think I figured it out, because I couldn't figure out for the longest time why some of my replays had the chat and some were like, oh, it's not available for this video. I think, can't 100% confirm, but I think that it's when I would try and cut off the beginning of a stream, like after post-production, and was like, oh, I want you to start the stream 10 minutes in after I got set up and everything. I think when you clip it, it loses track of chat. But now that I have the new buffer at the beginning of the stream, I don't have to do that. So it'll be there.
So the name I can't pronounce apparently is Nancy.
Oh, Nancy. All right. Hi, Nancy.
Hi. I am so sorry.
I don't know how to say that AE either. I know that's not something we have in regular. Oh, Lillian. Hi, Lillian. I don't know how long you've been here, but hi, I hope you're doing well. All right, we give him some rocks. It's a very big flat rock. I'll do some, like, maybe some yellow ochre, like, oh, there's some faint mountains over here of sand dunes.
See, I feel like you think of rocks as boring, but as someone who just took a road trip from Colorado to Arizona, I find rocks fascinating.
I like red rocks. Red rocks are like an obsession of mine.
But you said that it's in the desert. Why don't you just put red rocks?
That's not the type of desert they live in.
Okay.
They live in the, like, Middle Eastern desert. It's very shrubby.
Well, fine.
But I think I just have an obsession with brownish red, which a lot of my viewers will know from my watercolor choices. But when I was in Africa, they had like this red soil out there, which was just the most gorgeous thing I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, I know I can't take this home with me because that's a hazard, but like, it's so beautiful and I love it.
More on bird stuff because I'm so glad I'm not alone. Lillian says, me too, pigeons creep me out.
Lillian, don't you have birds though?
Schnauzer Face Mini says, I feel like birds are always judging me, especially owls. They're so smug. And like, yes.
Owls are pretty smug. So my thing is, I absolutely love, okay, the yellow in the background was not a good idea, guys. And I apologize for everyone who loves this one because now he just blends them with the background. I'll try and fix that with some shoddy line work. But I love parrots and I love how intelligent they are and I really, really want one. But same how Jenny mentioned that it would be unfair for her to have a dog. Like, I don't have the resources to take care of a parrot, so I will never get one for that reason, but I think they're really cool creatures.
Lillian asks how you're doing and also says, okay, slight correction, I like parakeets, but those are the only birds I like.
Specifically parakeets.
And then we have a lot of rock fans.
Okay. Pet rocks? Or just rocks?
No, because it was
the rock conversation. It could have been pet rocks too.
And Sedona is rock heaven, red rock heaven, and Sedona is the place for you.
Yay!
And just for the love of Loot says, love rocks.
Love rocks. All right.
I love that.
So I had this really cool picture that I took. If you have ever seen me over on DeviantArt, because I have some of my old photography there that I'll link sometimes, there's a close-up of a zebra's back. And it was taken at the Atlanta Zoo in Georgia years ago when I went there for a family reunion. And they had brought in this red dirt for the animals to play with because it was a different texture. And the zebras had gotten stained from the red dirt. And so they were orange and black instead of white and black. And they looked so cool. And I loved it. How are we doing on the colors? Is the color still okay? Or we gotten bright again?
I think it's the best it has been. What do you think?
That's pretty bright.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you want me to adjust?
A little bit. A little darker.
Okay.
I think the sun is coming over on that side. We're not going to be up too much longer, guys. We've been up for a while. I can check my...
I've been having a great time.
I have too. Have you guys been having a good time in chat? It's been almost 2 hours.
How's that?
That's good.
I think I found my new profession.
Grace says her windows are doing their best. You missed it when you were in the other room. She was saying how she likes to call her brain a jerk, but it's doing the best it can. So now she's saying the windows are doing the best they can. Yeah, you won't see any new artwork from me over on DeviantArt. It's been years since I've regularly checked that, but I still will link people back to that if I use a reference photo. So I apologize. It's not going to be current. I'm not going to have anything fancy or fun over there, but my older stuff is up there from when I used to do photography. All right, I think it's time to start doing some details.
Grace said she's having a lot of fun. Frosty Girl says absolutely. People are still talking about pet rocks.
Okay.
So, I am totally into this conversation.
Sounds good. I'm actually going to flip this to do the faces because they're upside down.
I'm not quite sure how to pronounce this, but Thesia says... I'm supposed to be studying for finals, yet I'm here because this is way more interesting.
Well, don't let your schoolwork suffer or anything, but we're happy to have you here if you want to take a little mental health break. I always have, I don't know what to say when people say that. I'm don't not study because of me, but also
watch me.
But also, I'm glad you're here. Thanks for coming by. Same thing when people are up really late and they're like, I'm not going to get any sleep tonight because I'm watching this stream. And I'm like, but sleep, it's so important.
People are going to do what they want to do.
That's true. And I'm guilty. I stay up really late watching videos too.
Oh, absolutely.
Pretty much every night.
I was worse in college than I am with a job, and I don't know what that is. But there is something so inherent about not wanting to study. And Grace says, all right, Jenny, you have to fly out to Denise whenever she does a live show now. And Ian says we can do it on Hangout next time. If you want me to.
Oh, thanks, Ian.
And then the stuff.
So I've been trying to find a good way to do it, and I so appreciate your offer. I'm trying to make it as easy as possible, and Google Hangouts, when I was trying to set it up, was confusing me, and I wasn't able to do the layouts the same way, and so I think I'm going to keep on OBS as long as this goes well. But I very much appreciate the offer, and I'll let you know if I change my mind about Google Hangouts. I just had a really hard time with it on my back end. I'm not technically savvy. Clearly, Jenny was talking about how she's the engineer, I'm the artist, so my brain doesn't work that way.
Technically, I'm an engineer. I wouldn't go around saying that.
Okay.
Unless it's in a joke context, which I do frequently.
You do work with computers, and I just watched YouTube videos about how to use OBS, so this guy looks demonic, and I apologize, and I'm going to try and fix him. He looked really cute in my previous sketch with the shape of an eye, and the actual painting did not turn out that way. Poor little Leopard Gecko.
We have Schnauzer Face Mini saying, I'm a teacher and I'm blowing up writing my finals to watch this, so I think it's okay.
Alrighty, well, we have the teacher's blessing, so.
And Penholder Art says, I so wish I could do art part-time as a job so I could be home more.
Yeah, it's a big commitment, and I can't, like, I've had this question asked me a bunch of times. It's not like I can tell you to recommend, like, oh, quit your day job and do this. It took me 3 years to be sustainable doing art full-time. So, and mine was out of necessity, not out of, like, oh, I'm just going to quit my job and not get paid for 3 years. But luckily, I had an amazing support system that I was able to get through it. But I would not necessarily recommend that to others if you have other choices. If you do want to get things up and running, like getting a good start, I know it's really long hours for you guys, and I don't envy at all, like, having to work and then come home and do this, because it is a full-time job with what I do. But if you can get a good basis started and it's something you eventually want to do full-time, like, there's ways to do it. It's just, it's a lot of hard work to put in and get that basis before you have a constant income where it's feasible long-term.
Grace says that Google Hangouts is stopping next year.
Oh, that's interesting.
She says it's in March 2019, so that's pretty soon.
That is soon. I know a lot of, that's unfortunate. Like, I know a lot of gamer streamers that use that when they do group gaming. I used to watch a group called Squadron, and they've now moved over to Heroes Hearth, and they specifically stream, like, the game that I play, Here's the Storm. But they will get on, like, these 3 or 5 man comps, and they use Google Hangouts. And Google Hangouts, it's what Marty and Steve over on the Mind of Watercolor use for their artist Q&As, and it changes the person's picture on the screen based on who's talking. So, like, I know it's really helpful when you're streaming multiple faces. So that'll be unfortunate that they have to find someone for that, but there's something else for that.
Apparently they're replacing it with something called Chat and Meet, and I know nothing about it, so maybe I'll look into that after this stream.
Alrighty. Thanks for letting us know, Grace.
I think it's Messiah. Let me know if I'm saying that wrong. Not sure how it is in the US, but I work in an art store and we do a lot of demonstrations, so it's a fun way to combine art and regular work.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I do think Michael's has, like, an in-store program, but I don't know how organized they are about it.
I have never seen anyone do art at Michael's before.
It's like an evening class thing, but I applied to be a teacher there when I first started doing art full-time and literally never heard back from them. So I don't know how organized they are. I had credentials. Like, I had worked in enrichment education for 12 years, like, and I didn't hear back from them, so I don't know how on top of their stuff they are, but technically it's a thing that happens.
Marley says the creatures look terrified now that they are upside down.
I know, guys. I'm sorry. I can flip them back over. I was just doing this eye. Let me do this little sloth eye, then I'll flip them back around. That's actually one way to check yourself. And obviously hinting at the fact that these are not completely anatomically correct, because you should be able to flip your creature around and have it look okay. Clearly that's not what happened here, but...
Tasia says Blix and Jerry's Artorama do it.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So I always forget about that because I don't have one near me. But our friend Ophelia, who has her own channel here on YouTube, and she's also over on Instagram, she actually does art classes for Jerry's, I believe. And so you can catch her streams on YouTube when she does them with Jerry's.
Lillian said, Denise sure is qualified to teach.
Thank you, Lillian. I appreciate it.
For the Love of Loot says, Plaza Art also does workshops. I've never heard of that.
Plaza Art. It sounds familiar. Like, I feel like I've heard people talk about it before, but I've not seen one.
Ellen just jumped in, and it was when we were rotating, and she's like, oh, so that's why these sloths look so weird.
Yeah. So you'll see a lot, especially digital artists, because they can do this very easily, is if you watch a digital artist paint, sometimes they'll flip their canvas back and forth horizontally when they're working on a face because you want it to look right in both directions. Yeah. Traditional art, it's obviously a lot harder to do, and very obvious when I flipped it around that they looked really creepy that way, but these are just sketches, right? So we'll just have some fun with them, and if I ever decide to put them onto more finalized art piece. I'll work harder at rotating the paper and making sure they look good from every direction.
Grace says, I'm getting cat vibes from the top bottom one.
Oh, am I on screen? Hopefully I'm doing okay.
I think you're on screen.
All right. I know the board is tilted a little bit, or the thing is tilted.
Jacqueline says, Michael's programs is all about selling product.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Did some classes from them and it was a nightmare.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, then I'm glad I didn't hear back from them.
And Marley says, same. It was terrible.
Oh.
So that's awful.
I think I went to one once when I was like trying to feel it out. I don't remember there being a lot of sales pitch, but I also don't remember it being super helpful. It was just one. I think it was like an acrylic painting class or something. But
Thesa says Daniel Smith offers a lot of events and often offer free use of their materials too.
Cool.
Ellen says I often take photos and flip them on my phone, so that's referring to the art conversation. Anne Marie says, do you have any Skillshare classes? With all these sponsorships on the art channel, Skillshare is my new addiction.
Yay, yeah, I have 2 of them. I've got a color mixing class that is basically a reboot of the really old and dated. Earlier we were talking about how it's hard for me to watch old videos, like my color mixing videos are some of the most popular ones I have on YouTube, and I'm like, I can't watch them anymore. They're too hard to watch. So I redid that and made it into a Skillshare class. And then I also have one that's building off of that class on how to make a custom palette. So you can find me on there with my name, Denise Soden, not in liquid color. It's under my name. And I would love to see you over there.
Hiltsy Art and Stuff says, or asks, any tips for a new art channel? I've been trying to upload every week and have also been active on Instagram.
Yeah, it just takes a really long time. I don't know if you were here for the conversation when I said, like, it's really hard. It took me 3 years to get to where I'm at now. Now, I've only had my YouTube channel for a little over 2, close to 2.5, but like everything I was doing with art between teaching and selling my own artwork and going to shows and all that, that took a really long time to build up and to build up a following. And still, Instagram is, I think, the hardest. I've been on Instagram for 4 years and I'm just now over 5,000, which is awesome, and I'm super excited about it. But it's obviously like it's much slower growing than YouTube is. I recommend being true to yourself in terms of your videos, and like you can be smart about it and pick certain things if you think that there's like a challenge that other people might be searching for that you would also have something to add valuable of. That wasn't a sentence, I apologize. But if you have something valuable or an interesting take on something, people want to see, a genuine perspective. They don't want it to be just chasing trends. If you can find a trend that other people would be searching for, but that also is true to yourself, that's how I would recommend kind of that aspect.
And I am the worst watcher, I will say, like as a layman in art, like I do like the comparison videos, or like I tried following the Bob Ross tutorial. Like I like fun videos.
They are fun.
And honestly, Denise, if you weren't my sister, I wouldn't have started watching the channel.
I know.
But I know it's not for me. So
yeah, so it just depends on what you want your market to be and what you feel like you can do. I don't do the videos that I do if that's not where your heart is. Don't do the challenge videos if that's not where your heart is. I love to do challenge videos, but I am pretty selective about the ones that I do so that I can make sure that has something to add to what I'm working on, if that makes sense. And I do the same thing when it comes to sponsorships. Like when I Insider Information, this new series for Let's Learn, Skillshare came to me and asked me if I wanted to do a series of videos, and they let us pick, which is really wonderful. And I think I mentioned that in the video for Let's Learn, but I could be wrong. Like I got to pitch them my idea for what I wanted to do. So it was completely in my hands, and I was like, well, we've been talking about it for a long time on the channel. I really wanted to dip into other mediums. I've not been able to dedicate the time to it. So now would be a really cool opportunity to do that. And so I took this concept that I've been working on for over a year and gathering art supplies, and was able to turn that into a video series that I think will be really cool. I hope you guys are excited about it. I think the first video did well. So finding little things like that you can really make your own is going to be the most helpful. How's chat doing? Sorry, I talked for a long time there.
No, it's advice of like just keep going at it and make it fun and interesting. Yeah. And I do think that what you said, I agree with most, is you need to make it authentically yourself. Yeah. And like I think I've asked you to do like a bunch of like challenge videos before, and you're like, that's not really for me. And that's completely
I like some of them. I have supplies at my place to do several videos that I bought a long time ago and just haven't gotten to. The other thing I'll say, just from a technical standpoint, the sooner you can invest. Are you in the US? I don't know if you're in the US. If you're in the US and have access to Amazon, you can get an umbrella light for $40. And I had no idea I could find one so affordable. And that really stepped up my game at home. For those of you who are late to this isn't my normal setup, but if you see my normal videos, the light really helped because I wasn't slave to the sun all the time anymore. I could make videos when I needed to, and then also as soon as you can't upgrade your mic because it makes a really big difference in just the audio quality.
Grace says your challenge videos always feel really genuine.
Oh, thank you, Grace.
Marley has a question/comment of the challenge videos I love most are minimal color palettes and the new Let's Learns.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I wanted to do a bunch of the color palette videos, especially since that's kind of like the theme of my channel, but then Tio started doing them and I didn't want to step on his toes. So he's been doing a lot of really cool videos where he does different primary triads, and so I wanted to kind of let that play out. I've never talked to him about it. I just didn't want to oversaturate the market with that type of video, so I might revisit it at a later time.
Poodle Lover says, Denise, I love your channel! With all caps and exclamation mark. Very excited.
Welcome to chat. Welcome to the stream. We're just finishing up. We won't be on too much longer. My shoulder's definitely talking to me. Saying some not as nice words as it was earlier in the day.
Anne-Marie says, it's funny that in Dutch, the difference between the word leopard and sloth is only one letter.
Oh, really?
It's L-U-I-P-A-A-R-D versus L-U-I-A-A-R-D.
That's so cool.
So your leopard gecko sloths work as a good pun in Dutch.
Oh, that's awesome. Good job, Jenny. Good picking the animals.
Grace says it's hilarious to see your struggle with the daylight again, so that's calling attention to something, I think. I will adjust. Thank you, Grace.
Oh, is it too bright? Oh, yeah, too bright again. I think it's too warm, I think is the problem. The light was really cool earlier in the day, and it's gotten a lot warmer. Oh, God, that feels so dark.
That's too dark?
It's a little too dark.
I feel like that's
just a tiny bit more. There you go. I love that you've now been able to interpret my
I am sister, we have bond.
Yay. We are very good at those games where we require telekinetic brainwaves.
Yes. Penholder Art says it's more expensive to start YouTube properly than people think.
It is. It is a little bit more of a buy-in. You can still make videos without the equipment, but I can tell you that your quality will jump a lot more, and that'll in turn potentially result in a faster growth because it's easier to watch higher quality videos, I think, for most people. But
Hitmarker 9000 asks, do you have any tips on how to draw and supplies I need to help improve my art?
I don't think there's any supplies in particular. I think that's something that people look to, that you don't need to spend more money, especially if you just want to enhance your drawing skills. You just need paper and pencil. Check out, are you specifically interested in nature sketching or in a different format? John Muir Laws is great. He has a book as well as a YouTube channel that he puts his lectures on YouTube for. And Alfonso Dunn is also a fantastic artist, like specifically in drawing, so I would recommend them. I'm not one of them. I learned from them and I make do, but it's not my forte.
Haymaker says nature and architecture.
Nature and architecture. I don't know about architecture, but John Muir Laws is really phenomenal for the nature videos. He has something called the Nature Journal Club, and if you're ever near the Bay Area, he does a circuit of lectures every single month. He does 7 of them throughout the Bay Area, and going all the way from San Francisco down to San Jose. And you can go to them in person. They're donation based, so I think it's a suggested donation of $20, but you can go for free if you can't afford it. And then he posts those lectures. They're very rough and unedited, but he posts those on his YouTube channel if you want to catch up there if you're not able to watch them in person. He also has Nature Journal drawing books that if you learn that way, they're really great. Again, I have a hard time learning through text.
Z Sitter says just watched his video on gesture sketching.
Oh, perfect. Isn't that a great one?
And Lillian says, I've been meaning to go to a workshop of John Muir's, but it's been so hard to find the time.
Oh, no. Yeah, he's down in the South Bay where we're at. He's in Cupertino and Sunnyvale on Fridays of the week that he does the circuit. I think it's always it's either the first or second full week of the month. But his calendar's on his website, so you can always check there.
Ian asks, how do you feel about the new premiere of videos on YouTube? And I don't know what that means.
So YouTube just came out with a thing that you can premiere videos before they go live. So it's not a live video. You record your video like usual, and then you schedule it so that you're online talking to your chat while they go up. I personally haven't been able to be involved with one yet. I think it's a cool concept. I'd be interested to know what you guys think. I think that's a more important question, but this past month has been a little bit rough, and I'm not quite willing to go into the details on stream, but I've been having a rough month, and so I haven't gotten out as many videos as I'd like, but I keep looking at it every time I log in. It says, like, do you want to premiere your video? I'm like, nope, I can't. I don't have anything to show you right now. But let me know what you guys think of them. Do you like being able to interact with people? I don't know. It seems a little strange to me to be like, oh, let's watch my video together and then talk about it, but I'm also not opposed to the idea.
Rabbit Child asked, have you done or will you do a video on transparent versus semi-transparent watercolors?
I haven't done a dedicated video. That question's actually come up a couple times recently.
Maybe you should do a video on it.
I feel like it's one of those things that it gets talked about in other videos. I just have not done a dedicated video yet. I wish I had more hours in the day, you guys, because I have a list like a mile long, figuratively, but seriously like 60 or 70 video topics that I want to get covered, and I just never have enough hours in the day to do them. So I'll add it to my list. In the meantime, AutoCano has a video on transparent watercolors if you want to watch that, and her transparent watercolor palette. So that's a good resource. And then again, the Color Spotlight series that I have is mostly transparent colors, but we're going to be talking about Nation Red in the next one. So I'll try and bring a little bit of that discussion into that video for you guys.
There's a very hard-hitting question from Poodle Lover.
Okay.
Who asked, what color do you like better, ultramarine or phthalo green?
Ultramarine blue or phthalo green?
It says ultramarine or phthalo green. So it doesn't specify, like, red shade, okay, whatever.
I use ultramarine more. I like the hue as a one-off color of phthalo blue more. I think phthalo green is really great for mixing other teals. It's a hard question. I'm gonna go with ultramarine just because I use that color more often than I use other colors. It's in my trio.
You should just say it's in my trio. Check it out. It's
That's true. That's true. It is in my Da Vinci trio. I've got French ultramarine there. I just think it's such a useful color, and even though I don't like the hue of it necessarily on its own, it's just so valuable in painting that I would not be able to get by without it.
Alyssa Renee says, hi Denise, I love your work, that is all.
Okay, hi.
Who
was that?
Alyssa Renee.
Alyssa Renee.
Question, how does Daniel Smith's phthalo turquoise compare to BP16? Considering getting Schminka's version maybe into the place of phthalo green, or phthalo blue green shade, but I don't want to close the turquoise. They need to stop asking me questions
that you can't read. I got the gist. I think I got the gist.
Luckily, I've watched your videos for about a year or two, so I think I got most of that.
Yeah, you got most of that.
Okay.
So I've been playing a lot with the PB16 lately, and I really like it. I still love the phthalo turquoise from Daniel Smith. I think it's a little greener, whereas the single pigment version is a little bluer, but I think they would fill the same role in a palette. I don't think you need both, but either would be fine. If you want a single pigment, if that's important to you, go with the PB16. If you want something that is a little bit more green in hue, you can go with the other one. Both of them mix beautifully. The one from Daniel Smith is literally just phthalo blue and phthalo green put together. So like, it's a convenience color, but it'll be fine for whatever you need it for.
Anne-Marie asks, what equipment do you use to hold your camera in this top-down position?
This one is actually, it's a microphone arm. So if you go to my Amazon Associates shop, I actually have a whole category for my filming equipment for any of those of you who want to start your own YouTube channels or are wondering about that. So I have a whole list there of all the equipment that I use. It's pretty cheap. There's a much more expensive one that is on my wish list that is a little bit more durable and rotates better. It doesn't wiggle as much, but this one is holding a webcam. It can't hold a big camera, but it's holding a little webcam, and it holds my little camcorder okay. They also make camera dedicated arms, but those are going to cost more. But it's like a little $12 microphone arm is the short answer.
Okay. Anne-Marie also says, your collab with Arlie Bean got me addicted into their channel. Both your paintings are amazing.
Thank you. I'm a big fan of Arlisha's. We were talking about her earlier in the stream and how much I love her loose style, and that I aspire to have a little bit more of that into my art style and not be so uptight as I tend to be historically.
And we were a little farther behind, so we finally caught up.
Okay.
And there are comments about like the phalos and the ultramarines of just Tracy says phthalo is more staining.
Phthalo is more staining, yes.
Jessica says, I use ultramarine constantly for mixing grays.
Mm-hmm. Accurate.
Poodle Lover says, I really like Denise's recommendation for mixing burnt umber and ultramarine blue together for darker grays.
Yep, that's a Jane. Well, I think it predates Jane Blundell, but Jane Blundell is the one who's really known for it. She has a new color coming out with Daniel Smith that is that combination. You can buy it pre-made in a tube in the early 2019, I think. It's in the pan set now. Yeah, I think that's the biggest reason. Sorry, Jenny. No. That's the biggest reason I don't use phthalo blue more, is because it's more staining. But I use it whenever I'm making really vibrant teals or really rich dark colors. I use phthalos for all of that. If I want a gray, I go to ultramarine. If I want black, I go to phthalo blue or phthalo green.
I think Penholder Art heard my comment about making things needing to be like more pronounceable for the layman, and he threw phthalocyanin green. So he finds that green is a great color to mix with.
Yeah. Phthalocyanin. Phthalo is short for phthalocyanin. With reds are absolutely beautiful. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. Especially cool reds. I love them with cool reds.
Hitmarker asks, how do you move the paint from the pan to the palette? Because every time I try to mix paint, I never have enough paint.
You need to make sure that you don't have a thirsty brush. So either a synthetic brush or a really stiff brush. Don't mix with natural hair. It'll take you forever. So you want to scoop up as much as you can with a synthetic brush and then make a big pool of it and make sure you have enough for whatever area you're trying to cover. And also, the thirstier brushes are going to soak up more water, which means less pigment, and that'll be harder to kind of go around. All right, guys. We need to do a little stretchy stretch.
Are you okay with questions still?
Yeah, we can do questions, and we're going to try and finish this up and wrap up our stream because it's been a while.
Katie asks, question. What PB16 do you use?
Oh, any of them. They're all almost the same, guys. I've used several from other brands. I've used Winsor & Newton's. I've used My Mary Blues. I've used Schminka's. They're all very similar to each other, so I don't think it matters. Just go whichever one is most affordable to you or that you like best.
Penholder says, so you film with the Canon Vixia, how is that compared to a smartphone?
I don't love it. I'm phasing it out. It served me well for a really long time. That was my camera. Okay, here's the story behind the Canon Vixia. I did photography before, right? And I had my big DSLR, but the DSLR can only record for 20 minutes at a time and it automatically shuts off. So doing long format videos, especially for Patreon, was impossible. And I didn't like it. And so I was like, well, I need a camcorder that's affordable because this was over a year ago. So I didn't want anything too expensive and I needed something that could film for a long time. So I took recommendations from like vlogging channels and everything. The thing is that it's great in sunlight, but in limited light, like in my studio, it doesn't pick up the details quite as well as I'd like it to. So if you see all of my videos from about, starting 6 months ago is when I probably started using my new Android phone. So before that, and I don't know how to phrase this. About a year ago, up until 6 months ago, I was using the Canon Vixia, and it works really well for being just a utilitarian camera that gets you large files, and you don't have to worry about turning it off and on all the time. So it's great for that, but it doesn't work as well in low light situations. So when I got my new Pixel 2 phone, it records much clearer video, and so I started using that, and that's when I started getting like the artsy angles. I don't keep it over my workspace. I keep it clamped to my desk and like looking at an angle. So that takes better quality, but it's a phone and it only has a limited battery and they overheat really easily, so I can only record small clips at a time. So I don't know what the short answer is, but if you need something that records long videos, go with a camcorder. If you need something that does shorter, prettier videos, you can get either a more expensive camera or your smartphone. I have been looking a lot at some of the new Canons that are like in the $600 or $700 range. I'm not there yet. Like I can't afford one of those, but I think that'll be my next purchase, is a dedicated nice camera. For me personally, though, the lighting and the audio have been more important, so I put those ahead in terms of purchase decisions.
So I'm going to cut you off
because
Hajra Meeks is in the room and
hi,
says, "Hey, Denise, just saw you here. Want to say hi?"
Hi. How's it going? Hope everything's still going well for you.
Heidi says, "Hi, so happy I caught this live stream. Just got stickers from our Etsy shop in the mail. Love them so much. You are my favorite watercolor artist."
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. That means so much to me. Who did you say that was, Heidi?
Heidi.
Heidi, thank you.
I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name.
I really appreciate that. I think I remember, because I addressed my sticker envelopes by hand. They're not printouts. I think I remember a Heidi.
Fancy.
Yeah.
And then there are some camera comments of Hilty says, "Yep, my Nikon only films for about 20 minutes.
Yep, I had a Nikon before. That's what I had.
And then Penholder Art says, "I'm not sure if I'm ready or feel the need to make the jump to a DSLR."
So for me personally, I'm not going to get another DSLR. I would get they've got like, they look like cameras used to look before DSLRs. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Like, they look like little point and shoot cameras, but they're way higher technology than they used to be, and they have really nice video and everything on them. So I won't be getting another DSLR, but it's like the point and shoot body that you can interchange lenses on, but you would just get a small lens for doing art footage, if that makes sense.
To bring it back to art, Tasia says, "Those spots make it all come together."
Yay,
love these guys.
Yay, I'm glad you like them. It's always within the last like half hour for me on any project that I'm working on that everything really comes together. It's usually when I add the eyes, it's when I add spots or details. The reason I don't add anything black ahead of time is because if you smudge it, it's going to get all over everything else. So you really have to make sure your other layers are down really well. And like you're like totally done adjusting values in other places before you go into that area. Now that we're done with the other adjustments, we can do spotties. This isn't the best brush for this. You guys can probably tell, like I'm getting a lot of weird edges on my spots. Do I need edges? No, I think it's okay. Thank you for asking. We're almost done. Jenny was asking if we needed to adjust the light. No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I've been having issues. So this brush isn't great for this. I'd pick a blunter brush. This one has such a tip on it that it's just harder to get those round spots, but you work with what you got.
Poodle Lover says, I really want to try Quinburg Orange because of all your beautiful mixes Denise displayed. Thank you, Denise.
Thanks. Yeah, it's a fun one. If you have something like a transparent red oxide, that works really well too.
And then Grace says, like, Denise makes me want to paint, or makes me want so many paints because of the mixes she makes, which is very sweet. And Poodle Lover says, honestly, though, Denise's color spotlight videos give me life.
Oh, thank you.
And then Grace says the middle gecko sloth is her favorite.
Okay, I'm glad you like that one. About the color spotlight, this was something I very quietly announced, and I haven't really had time to put it in a video yet, but I very quietly announced over on my Patreon that I'm going to do a third run if we get to our next goal on Patreon. Little plug there. So if you guys, if you guys want to see more color spotlight videos, you can either be really patient and wait for us to reach that, or if you'd like to help out, you can come join us over on Patreon.
And Grace says, yes, most color spotlight.
And I'm already working on the swatch binder. Patrons, if you're in the room, I'm sorry it's taken me a long time. Again, a lot of stuff happening right now, but I've started working on my scans. That was our last Patreon goal, was to get my swatch binder uploaded into an online resource. I'm still working on that. We lost our little sloth toes in the rocks. Trying to add those back in.
Dawn says, I love the color spotlights too. Such a great deep dive and gorgeous color mixes.
Oh, thanks. They've been really fun. It was definitely interesting to see when I made the new goal. I went to go copy the text from the last time I had the second run goal, and they were talking about like, yeah, I spend like 3 to 4 hours on them, and I was like, ha! Like, what world did I live in when they only took that long? It now takes me a full 2 days of filming and editing per video. So I hope that that's been noticeable. I hope that the quality in those videos has gone up. And it seems like from your reactions that they have. But yeah, I put a lot of time and effort into those. And so they're a big mental thing I have to make sure I have time for. But I do love putting them together. It's really fun to explore. And there's so many colors that we haven't talked about yet, so it'll be fun to bring those back.
Grace says, you're so amazing, Denise. Such dedication.
Oh, thank you.
Your viewers are too nice to
They're way too
They're
nice
gonna give
to me.
You like some sort of ego.
They're making me blush, and I don't know how to react to it, and I don't know what to say, but thank you.
But Ellen also says, I've learned so much from the Color Spotlight series, which I assume was your point in like putting them out in the first place.
Yeah. There were ways for me to get involved with them. It's kind of funny because I started off the Color Spotlight series in the first run way early on in the channel, right? Back when I wasn't doing much. So like when I go back and watch the quality of those videos, I'm like, oh God, they're so bad. And I kind of want to redo them, but they would take so many resources. Like, well, people probably want to see new videos, not just redos of the old videos. But at the same time, I want to make Ultramarine like in Burnt Sienna. They deserve fancier videos than they have. What were you laughing at?
Oh, nothing. I'm just talking to Grace.
Oh, okay.
She said I'm amazing too, so like,
yeah.
Whatever. Jessica says, I have a whole notebook with notes from the Color Spotlight and Mixing series.
Awesome.
And Poodle Lover says, thank you for the hard work. You're so amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
But really, just too much love.
Too much love. Too much. All right. Do you guys have any last minute questions? We're coming to the end here. We're almost done. I just have to give this guy an eye. Maybe do a little drop shadow underneath him again. Make it stand out a little bit more.
I feel like we may have started at the wrong time. People are just popping in.
Yeah, well, it's after work now, right? So, like, we had the at-home crowd, and then now people are coming in, and
But you wanted a thing called Sunlight.
I wanted a thing called Sunlight, and I didn't want to be inconvenient. We're like in the middle of Jenny's living room right now. Like we dragged a table over, and when her husband gets home, like I don't want to just be sitting in the middle of her living room. So I wanted to make sure we finished at a reasonable hour.
That's a good point. I didn't think
that's what I was thinking of. So I'm like, well, we'll be courteous to the person who's hosting me right now, the two people who are hosting me, and make sure that we're done before dinner time. So I apologize, but if I'm able to keep doing these, I can schedule them at different times so we can catch different crowds.
Tasia asks, if you weren't a YouTuber, do you think you would have so many paints? I know the answer to this.
Yeah, no, I would not.
Definitely not.
No. I have way too many. I have like an overwhelming amount. Like when I look at my own collection, my mind boggles and I'm like, I don't understand how I've amassed such a collection, but I mean, they're important for my job. They're important for reviews. It's important that I know what I'm talking about when I'm giving a recommendation and need to be able to tell you guys like, oh, it has this advantage over that one or doesn't have an advantage over this other one. So I'm happy to do it, but it is very overwhelming.
There's also, Ian asks, have the animals got names?
These ones here? We haven't named them yet. Do you guys have names for them? Jenny's good at names.
No, I'm not.
You're not?
No.
Thought you'd like to name our creatures. What do you guys think? I didn't say anything about it, but I put like little black spots that like faded into hairs that go up on the back. Do we like that? Or did we not like that? I just kind of did it. I didn't consult anyone. And I added them to the little legs here.
Dawn says, I have way too many watercolors and I don't have an excuse at all. Ian suggests Fido.
Fido? For the one on the ground? Is that the most like dog-like one?
We got Sloige, Sloegge.
Okay. Is that a Danish name?
I wouldn't know.
Okay.
I think they're just combining Slash and Gecko.
Sloth. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not looking at... Remember how I said I'm a visual person, guys? I don't hear auditory cues very well. So if I had seen it written, I probably would have gotten that.
Penholder Art says, I'm the sort of person who would name a pet chicken McNugget.
No, Dan! How could you?
Tasia says, by the way, love your sisterly interaction. You two are very charming.
Oh, thanks.
I can attest that I have never been called charming once in my life, so thank you very much.
And say, Dan, I had to help name 15 chickens at the zoo. We got 15 baby chicks all at the same time and had to name them. So we had to get pretty creative, but we had respective name policies at the zoo. So like we had to stay within bounds, but we did manage to get 3 of them were named Petrie, Sarah, and Ducky, which I lobbied for from Land Before Time.
Aww. And
we had Tyra from Tyrannosaurus Rex because they're little dinosaurs. And Maya from Mayasaurus. Mayasauruses are the best mamas.
Ellen said, if I had a dog, I'd call it Kitty. So what's like the opposite of like a sloth and a gecko? A cheetah for sloth?
Yeah, a cheetah bunny? Cheetah bunny? I don't know. What's the opposite of a gecko? I have no idea. I don't know. I went with something fluffy. That's how I came up with bunny. I don't know.
Poodle Lover suggests Golden Lily would be a lovely name for the one in the middle.
Oh, she does look like a golden lily.
Ian says Slogo is a good name, which
Slogo.
I appreciate that one.
That's awesome.
More words I can't pronounce, but we'll try to. Bazaya, I think. A sloth is called Faultier in Germany, which translates into lazy animal.
That's pretty funny. Faultier?
Faultier.
Sounds like Faultier to me. At least in my American accent it does.
with our exquisitely attractive American accent.
It's worse than that. Like, we have Californian accents, and so...
I actually work with a guy from Australia, and he was saying, like, oh, well, like, if you go to Australia and have an American accent, like, that's good, too. Huh. Like, because it's like, oh, your Australian accent, you must get all the ladies. And he's like, but, like, the only bad accents are, like, super, like... characteristically like either Valley Girl or like super like Southern kind of accents.
You know, I was kind of offended. I was watching these Jeopardy reruns on Netflix because I'm an old lady now and I absolutely love them. And they were the old Tournament of Champions and they had a category called Valley Girl Speak. And I had to argue with them because I was like, I know what you're getting at here, but I really feel like this is surfer slang and those are two different things, okay? Californians know they're two different things.
Very different.
But, yeah, no, I mean, I can't deny that. We definitely have people that talk like that, so.
To catch up, a little creative says Land Before Time, the best show.
Woot woot.
Grace says, I'm still voting for Goth, which is also
good. Yeah,
Did not even think of that.
That's funny.
Jessica suggests something fast like Zip or Flash.
Oh, that's cute.
Ellen says elephant, you can't miss it. Which is true.
So wait, we have Gecko and Sloth. So we have Goth, Slocko, Slecko.
In Danish, it's called Doviendir.
Doviendir?
Cool. Just like German, it means lazy animal.
So we could have a Goth, a Slecko, and what was the other, like, pretty sounding one? Like Golden Lily or something.
Oh, it was like really nice.
So this one would be Goth, right? The little punk lizard one.
Yeah.
That one would be Goth. And then
we did have Golden Lily.
Golden Lily and Slecko.
Quinera, and I probably butchered your name, which is a direct opposite to what you said, which is your accent is beautiful, and thank you.
Oh. All right, guys. Oh, Slogo. I forgot about Slogo.
Slogo's
we do need Slogo. I'll write that on the sheet. We need a Slogo. So that's cute.
Ian just chimed up again. Slogo.
I saw that. That's why I was like, oh, okay. We have to make sure we get that in there. Slogo. Charlie. Jacqueline says Charlie. That's a good one. This is how you properly cap water brushes, don't you know, guys? This other one doesn't need one. All right, guys. Well, thank you for hanging out with me. Sorry for our sunlight difficulties, but our technical difficulties, aside from the sunlight, did fine, I think, and you guys could hear us, and we didn't drop out with my stupid phone dying or something halfway through. So when I get back home, I'll have my more fully lit setup with the studio lights. It should be more, lit. I was just seeing Eve's comment. Yes, Eve has a Catcher Day stream tomorrow, so make sure you go ahead and see her. And yeah, thank you, Grace. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it before you go. That'll really help the video out once it goes live on the channel. It might take a little while to process it, to rewatch it if you want to do that. But I've had so much fun hanging out with you guys. And thank you to Jenny for helping with chat and everything so that we could get through this.
It was awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Yay! All right, I'll see you guys soon, okay? Have a good one.
Bye.
And happy painting.
All right.
Now you can say it.
Bye.
Okay.